Naruto God Level System, Chapter 961 to 980. Chapter 961. Uchizi's Entanglement. I've finished eating and you still haven't gone out. Uchizi looked at Chen and said, don't be in a hurry, what are you in a hurry to let me go out for? Chen sat down and didn't want to go out at all. After I saw you, just feel angry. Uchizi glanced at Chen, and in her heart, it was grievance and complexity. Chen ignored Uchizi, sat here and didn't intend to go out. Uchizi snorted angrily, and then, Wang Kui stopped talking. Half an hour later, Yukiko looked at Chen and said, I want to get dressed first, you go out first. You wear it, I haven't seen it anyway. Chen shrugged and said, you are angry in Uchizi, you are not shy, I am still shy, can't you be considerate of me? Seeing Uchizi Tong Buddha is really going to be angry. Chen stood up, and then walked outside, also letting Yukiko breathe a sigh of relief. 10 minutes later, Chen walked in again. At this time, Yukiko was already dressed, and now she was wearing the bloody Yuhi sheet. Her eyes were complicated. After hearing the movement of Chen coming in, Yukiko put the sheet was put away, and then stared at Chen coldly. To Uchizi's cold eyes, Wuyu just shrugged gently. Don't look at Uchizi's face full of coldness, is there not much coldness in her eyes? Would you like to go out and play? Oh, by the way, you have limited mobility now. Chen looked at Uchizi who was standing with Zou's face. Uchizi is really the most inconvenient now, and frowned from time to time. But Chen saying so, still makes Uchizi a little unchanged, but she is also unhappy, and Nakan can't do anything about it. Let's go back, Chen said to Uchizi. You can do whatever you want. Uchizi said angrily. 3 in the end, they were no longer going to stay here, and they returned with Yufanzi and Heiyu Chenying. Tian Uchizi and Haifeng Chenying sat in the back, but they were close to each other. There is no communication. Chikage Kuroba wanted to talk to Yukiko, but facing Yukiko's cold eyes, Chikage Kuroba retreated. Now Yukiko is the most angry, it is Kuroba Kankage. Now she wants to break up with Kuroba Chikage. Soon after, she returned to her manor. After Yukiko got off the car, she went back to her room without saying a word. What's the matter? Aren't you guys going out to play? Why does Kiko look unhappy and get paid? Belmod was very determined, seeing Yukiko's limping prototype as if injured. But this hurts badly. Belmod instantly thought of who she used to be. She is a smart person, and Chen hasn't said it yet. Belmod guessed it. Straight to Belmod's increasingly bizarre eyes. Chen knew that seeing Hermod should have guessed it. Belmod is so smart that it doesn't matter if he can guess Chen. He just shrugged at Belmod, in exchange for a Byakugan who saw Belmod. By the way, what's going on? Belmod asked Chen curiously. Yo, I didn't expect you, Belmod, to be such an 8 trigrams. Chen couldn't help saying, yeah, for something like this, of course I want 8 trigrams. Belmod has obviously admitted that his 8 trigrams. Belmod is really curious, and wants to let Chen talk about it. What the hell is going on? What should I say about this? Chen Xian glanced at Heiyu Chenying who was beside him and shook his head slightly, but she didn't tell the reason. Now Guiyu Chenying feels that she has. Kuroba Chikage was speechless after seeing Yukiko, apparently not wanting to say it. Although Belmod was curious, he did not ask Kuroba Chikage, but this must have something to do with Kuroha Chikage. Forget it. I won't ask any more, and I probably won't say it. Belmod shook his head and said, without asking any questions, Yukiko's room. At this time Yukiko's eyes were very complicated while lying on Simmons. On the way back after Yukiko was about to come back, she packed up and unloaded. Out of here, but after she really came back, Yukiko didn't plan to do it. At this moment, Akiko's eyes were blank. Damn, what am I missing 2 inches? Yukiko scratched her hair angrily, making herself look like a lunatic. I looked in the mirror and looked at myself. Yujuzi not only smiled bitterly, but now he is really embarrassed. In the end, Uchizi didn't make up her mind to leave, but chose to stay here, or she couldn't leave. Maybe I know him. Kiko couldn't help shaking her head and said full of work. Asking for flowers. 11 Chen didn't know that Uchizi was tangled, but she could guess it too. So Chen didn't bother Yuchizi, so let Yuchizi be quiet for now. By the way, Chermod, why didn't you see Mingmei and Xiaoai, and Yuhizi was not at home? There was only Belmod in the whole family, which made Chen a little strange. They're out. What's Junyu going to do? Do you think Shirley will tell me? Belmod shook his head and said. There is still a gap between Shirley and Belmod. And it's still not a small gap. Belmod rarely talks to Xiaoai, and Xiaoai does the same. Even with Chen's mediation, it's useless. Chen can't say anything about this, who made the two women's smiles not good. What can I say? That's right. Lan came to you before. You were not at home. So Ping went high, and there was a girl named Yuan Shanhei with her. Belmod suddenly met something, said to Chen. Oh, Chen was slightly stunned, then picked up the phone. Calling Shaolin, only then did Chen realize that Shaolin had called herself. But at that time he should be in the mountains, so the signal is not good. No call was received. After all, the coverage of signals in this era is not so comprehensive, and it is normal to have no signal. Xiaolan, do you have any business with me? After getting through the phone, Chen asked Xiaolan. Actually, I just want you to take us out to play. Unfortunately, you are not here. Xiaolan said after connecting. By the way, where have you been before? Why didn't I get through when I called you? Xiaolan asked curiously. Oh, the signal in the place I went to was not good, so I didn't look at it. That's right. Are you with He-Shi? Yes, the recent love affair with He was not very good, so I brought He out. Have fun. Xiaolan nodded. Then where are you now? We are at home now. Chen, are you coming? I have prepared a lot of good things, I guarantee you will like to eat. Xiaolan sent an invitation to Chen. For Xiaolan's invitation, Chen still refused. Let Lan have some regrets, but Chen told Xiaolan to find her righteousness tomorrow. Chapter 962. The Little Girl Jealous. Near the evening, Mingmei, Xiaoai and Yuhiko came back. Are you back? Xiaoai looked at Chen and asked. After going out for a day, she came back. Yo, my family Xiaoai still cares about me. Chen smiled and touched Xiaoai's hair. When? Who is your little eye? Haiyuan I patted Chen's hand away, glanced at Chen and said. Tisk tisk. Chen was not arrogant, and still touched Wei Yuan I's head, making Xiaoai unable to help but stomp his feet, and then let Yu Chen go. If it was someone else, whoever dared to touch her hair except her sister, Xiaoai would definitely fry her hair. But now after touching her head, Xiaoai has no choice but to give Chen a big Byakugan, but Chen Zhen takes Byakugan who is not in Ping Xiaoai. I'm going to prepare dinner. 8:60, Mingmei said, and walked towards the kitchen. Sister, I'll help you. Xiaoai ran to the kitchen, but before reaching the kitchen, she was caught by Chen. Xiaoai, I think you should not go to the kitchen to make trouble. Chen said to Xiaoai, why don't you know, I went to the kitchen to make trouble. Xiaoai asked Chen, very dissatisfied, this is not disguised contempt her cooking skills or Xiaoai is very effective, that's right. Chen is just despising Xiaoai's sense of skill, and it's not that Xiaoai hasn't cooked, and Y is really not very good. Although it can't be called dark food. However, with the dark cuisine is also half a caddy, Chen didn't want to say anything. I don't want to be poisoned yet, so you'd better come back to me. Also, Mingmei has been working very hard. What do you mean by doing a disservice to me? Be considerate of your sister. 3 yuns every word. Let Xiaoai I couldn't help it. I pouted, looked at Chen angrily and said that he was unmoved by Xiaoai's indignation. It was originally. Soon, Mingmei's dinner was ready. Chen immediately went to Yukiko's place. In the room, I asked Yukiko to come out to eat. Boom, boom tilde. After hearing the knock on the door, Yukiko didn't care at all, but the knocking didn't stop. Yukiko got angry too. She walked over to open the door. After opening the door, Yukiko was stunned when she found no one outside the door. Do you want to play a prank with me? Yukiko said angrily. She stretched out her hands and hugged Yukiko from behind. Yukiko who was greeted couldn't help it. She was stunned, and immediately Bing looked behind. After seeing that the person holding her was Chen, Yukiko recovered her strength. How did you appear behind me? Yuxaping's eyes were cold, but revealed a curiosity. Yukiko's curiosity is very strong. She knows very much how Chen suddenly appeared to check her body-kun. Obviously he didn't come in. Is it some kind of magic book? But doesn't magic need props? 0 inches. This is very simple. I'll tell you later. Now follow me to eat. Chen hugged Yukiko and walked out. Yukiko, who was hugged, struggled for a while and wanted to struggle away, but she was incapable of it. Chen held her hand tightly. I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat. However, as soon as Yukiko finished speaking, her stomach growled and she slapped her face directly. There is hope for the embarrassment outside the road. Why are you so unhappy? Really? It seems that you are not hungry. Your stomach is hungry. You are fattening. Your stomach has already protested. Don't be wronged. Chen hugged Yukiko. I walked outside. Yukiko, who was hugged by Chen, struggled hard. I got up and wanted to break free from Kaichen's embrace. But Yuchizi couldn't struggle. Since she can't fight, don't resist. Yuchizi is not stupid either. But Yuchizi still whispered to Chen, let me go first. I don't want to. Seen by them. 3. However, Chen ignored Yukiko's words, and brought Yukiko into the restaurant. After seeing Chen and Yukiko, except for Belmore, who had known for a long time, he was calmer. Little Izumi Yuhiko, Miyano Akemi, Haibara Ai, and Sato Mikazu, who had just returned from work, all widened their eyes, looking at Chen and Yukiko in shock. After seeing Yukiko, Chiyu Chikage's eyes flashed with guilt. And Belmod just saw the guilt in Kuroba Yukage's eyes instantly made his curiosity even heavier. 3. What is the situation? What role did Kuroba Chikage play when Yukiko became Tatsu's woman? I didn't ask, because even if I asked, I wouldn't necessarily say it. No, I would definitely say it. As everyone watched, Yukiko couldn't help lowering her head. She was really shy. Tong raised her foot and stepped on Chen's foot. Scum. Xiaoai said something coldly, and the light was very cold, and the eyes of the ice clinic seemed to be able to freeze the air. 3. There was a cold air all over her body. It was like an air conditioner. Little girl, jealous. Bermode jokingly looked at Le Jing's joking mi. This made Xiaoai very unhappy, as if Phi had met him. Under Bermode's moonlight, Xiaoai felt as if she had seen through everything. Very uncomfortable. So, what she hates the most is this woman. If possible, she wants to kill this woman. It's a pity that Chen doesn't allow it, and Xiaoai doesn't have the ability. After all, Belmode's strength. But Chen, who is stronger than Xiaoai, looked at Yukanzi's shy face and smiled slightly. It seems that Yukiko is no longer angry now, otherwise, she will never show a shy expression. 5 inches right. I still want to know. What's going on? Sato Mawako asked, and Sato Mawako's question was what Xiaoai wanted to know, so she looked at Chen seriously. It's nothing, it's the same as what you saw. Aren't you hungry? Eat something quickly. Chen shrugged and said, cut. I wouldn't be surprised if the 5 guys did anything. 2.9 Xiao_Jing looked at Chen A with anger and contempt. Yeah, you won't be surprised if Kai Lun does anything. You have to be careful about Xiaoai. Chen gave Xiaoai a meaningful look. Xiaoai actually understood Chen's moonlight, and lowered his head instantly. Yuhi's face suddenly turned up. Xiaoai's appearance is very rare. I couldn't help but took out my phone. Then I took a photo of Xiaoai. What are you doing? Xiaoai's face changed and she asked Chen. 3. Because Xiaoyi is so beautiful, so I just took a photo of you. 1. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh, I'm going to use it as a mobile phone background. Chen said with a smile. You take it over and let me take a look. Xiaoai said to Chen, but Chen really took the phone and put it away, but he wouldn't show it to Xiaoai, or Xiaoai would definitely delete it. 9th, 163 chapters. My purpose is to supervise you. The next morning, Chen left the house. But Xiaoai insisted on going out with Wuyu. I really hope that you start school earlier. Chen said after looking at Xiaoxiao. Xiaoai and the others are already on vacation, and the vacation time is not short. Of course, Xiaoai is on vacation. which means that Conan is also on Vacation Avenue, but Conan has been on vacation recently. They all live in Dr. Akasa's house, and Hattori Heiji is also working there recently, but they have come to investigate Chen. Although it is deeply hidden. But if you want to hide from Chen, the two of them don't have that strength yet, but Chen doesn't pay attention to them, or there is no national psychology to understand the two of them. As long as they don't jump out and find any trouble, Chen is also left to them, as long as it does not affect himself. After all, based on his current relationship with Yukiko, he can be the father of Kudo Shinichi. Although Yukiko is not a biological mother of abolished Shinichi, but she is also a nominal mother at 20. I don't know if Conan knew this now. Will it explode with anger? But Chen feels that if Conan really knows, then it won't be a simple question of anger explosion. I am afraid that time will come. Conan will come and fight Chen desperately. Conan should be able to do things. After all, he can do anything if he is provoked. However, with the sense of justice in Conan's heart. If you really know the truth, it will not be an exaggeration to come to Chen desperately, but Conan is one Nahua with a full sense of justice. How could he come to Hecken to work hard? The topic is too far away. At this time, Xiaoai's expression is very unhappy, and the whole body reveals that I am unhappy. Looking at Xiaoai's unhappy appearance, Chen of course can see it, but Chen didn't say anything. But Chen's silent appearance made Xiaoai even more upset, and wanted to say something, but because of her tsunere, she couldn't say what Xiaoai believed. Seeing her unhappy expression, she should come to comfort herself, but what Xiaoai never expected was that she was too self-motivated. Chen, an annoying guy, just pretended to be invisible. As for why Xiaoai thinks that Chen is pretending to be invisible, this is actually very simple. Because Xiaoai saw Chen and glanced at her. Because of what Chen did, Xiaoai was already angry at this time. The angry Xiaoai, of course, will ignore Chen now. Too angrily, she hugged her hands and turned her head to look at the scenery outside the window. Xiaoai's angry appearance really made Chen smile. What are you laughing at? Yi Xiaoai's voice is very cold, and the expression on her face is also very cold. Angrily looking at Chen. Nothing to laugh at. Xiaoai snorted coldly and didn't say anything, but the resentment that Xiaoai showed, let Chen know that Xiaoai's resentment was full. Chen Dai smiled at Menger. Sometimes gas little sorrow. Also very good. Chen really liked it. But if Chen's idea, let Xiaoai know. I am afraid that Xiaoai will ignore the image and Chen did not show it. Where are you going? Xiaoai's face was cold. Shang Chen asked. Although she came out with Chen, Xiaoai didn't know where Chen was going now. As this, of course, I'm going to the Maori detective office. After hearing Chen's destination, Xiaoai's expression became even colder. Maori the detective agency Xiaoadong knew this. And Xiaoai also guessed the purpose of Chen going there, needless to say. Must be looking for Morilin. Otherwise, Xiaoai can't think of any reason for Chen to go to Maori to visit the office. Are you going to see the waste uncle of Mori Kogoro? Don't even think about this, the waste uncle of Mori Kogoro. It is estimated that Chen Kai will not deal with him. Sure enough. I knew it. Xiaoai said silently. What do you know, Xiaoai? Chen asked towards Xiaoai. I knew that you came out and must be bad. Xiaoai glanced at Chen and said. Then I haven't asked. What is the purpose of coming out with you and me, Xiaoai? Xiaoai, you are not the one who came out to play. I usually take you out. You are not sympathetic. This time I took the initiative. There must be some purpose. HMPH, what purpose can I have? If Xiaoai doesn't say it, then I can only send you back, but I will do what I say. Chen smiled and looked at Xiao 3. If Xiaoai really doesn't say it, Chen will really bring Xiaoai back. My purpose is to supervise you. Xiaoai finally stated her purpose. Yes, it was to supervise Chen. As for what to do to supervise Chen, only Xiaoai knows that, but Chen can probably guess. Thinking of the jealousy that suddenly flashed on Xiaoai's face when he said he was going to the Maori detective agency, how could Chen not know? Then Xiaoai, you have to supervise well. Chen smiled and said, HMPH. Don't say it anymore. I'll do the same. Xiaolang snorted and looked at Chen angrily. Sit tight. Remember to fasten your seat belt, but I have to speed up, Chen reminded Xiaoai. Xiaoai didn't move at all. Even if you wanted to speed up, how much could you speed up? Xiaoai didn't care at all. This is in the urban area. Even if Chen wants to run fast, I'm afraid he won't be able to run unless he makes the car fly. Of course, Chen also wouldn't be so arrogant. If he did it like that, I'm afraid it would stun the crowd. Fortunately, it was the peak time for work, so Chen didn't have a traffic jam, and it was not far from Xiaolan's house, and soon came to the Maori detective office. Boss, it can be regarded as meeting you. Mo Benzi suddenly left come out. After seeing Chen, he said, What, is there something wrong? Is it because the cafe lost money? Chen asked Mo Benzi. Hearing Chen's question, Mo Benzi said that he was really speechless. Yi Sao listened to you, as if he didn't care if he made money from me. No, with my business, no matter how bad it is, I won't lose money. But the boss, why don't you come here for a while? Ji Genzi couldn't help but said Chen to buy this cafe. It's been a long time. But the quality limit was never managed. Didn't even care about the cafe's revenue. Isn't opening a store to make money. Azusa Momoto is really speechless. Also, why do you believe in her so much, and why she is so small and handed over the entire cafe to her to manage? Aren't you afraid that she will suddenly run away with money? Of course, Sanchen's behavior of trusting her so much also makes her. Mo Benzi was very grateful in his heart, and he also had a different kind of emotion towards Chen, which can also be seen from Moji's contact with God. The Force, Chapter 164. Sister behavior. Boss, what are you doing here this time? If you say you are here to see, I don't believe it. Did you come to find Miss Shaolin? Mo Benzi asked Zichane. Yes, you really guessed it right. I am here to find Miss Shaolin. Chen nodded and said that after Tong Chen finished speaking, a look of disappointment flashed in Mo Benzi's eyes. Sure enough, she knew that she must have come to find Shaolin. Xiaoai raised her head and glanced at the woman Genzi, with a hint of disappointment in her eyes. Don't be vigilant. Does this woman have any thoughts about Chen? Hey, who is this little sister? Is it the boss's sister? At this time, Mo Benzi also saw Xiaoai, and she still wanted Li Zi. The first time I saw Xiaoai, it was meet for the first time. Yeah, this is my sister. Chen lightly smiled. Then he nodded, causing Xiaoai to roll his eyes. Who is your sister? I won't disturb you. Chen waved at Mo Benzi, then walked up to the second floor to see Chen leave, and Z was a little disappointed. I also want to communicate with Chen Duo for a while. Too bad he's gone now. But it will definitely come down. When it comes down, talk to him again. Coming to the door of the Maori Detective Agency, Chen knocked on the door with his hand, and soon someone came to the door. It wasn't Maori Kogoro who opened the door, and it wasn't Xiaolan who opened the door now that he was drunk, but Yuan Shan and Yi, who were temporarily in Xiaolan's house. Chen, Yuan Shan and Yi were a little surprised after seeing Chen. Also, who is this little girl? Yuan Shan and Yi looked down at Xiaoai. Looking at Xiaoai's cute appearance, they wanted to take a picture. Hug. However, because Xiaoai had a cold face and looked like no strangers should come near, Yuan Shan and Yi felt a little embarrassed. At this time, Xiaolan also came over, and when she saw Chen and Xiaoji, her eyes showed a touch of joy. Chen, Xiaoai, you are here. Xiaolan shouted in surprise. Yeah, won't Xiaolin invite us in? Chen nodded. Asked Xiaolin. Come in quickly. Xiaolin invited Chen to come in immediately. Chen, is Xiao your sister? Yuan Shan and Yi asked Chen curiously, looking at Xiaoai. When Xiaolin heard the words, she couldn't help but look over. She was also very curious about the relationship between Chen and Xiaoai. I'm not this guy's sister. Xiaoai glanced at Chen, then said, Don't worry, it's actually Xiaoai Tsunere, she is my bead sister. Chen smiled and touched Xiaoai's head. Xiaoai shook her head unhappily, not wanting to talk to the queen at all. By the way, let's go out and play. I don't want to meet this drunken uncle directly, Yuan said to Yi. At this time, Maori Kogoro was lying on the table. C was full of alcohol. Yuenshin and Yi said that they couldn't stand it. 203 Shaolin also looked at Maori Kogoro helplessly, and then nodded. Okay, let's go out. Shaolan has nothing to do with her dad on the street, and obviously doesn't let him drink so much alcohol. But he wants to drink so much, and there's no way out. He walked out of the house, got into Chen's car, and they left. Why so fast? Zhangzi walked out of the cafe, looked at Chen who was leaving, and shook his head gloomily. There was a guest just now, and he was entertaining the guest, but he just deleted it and told the guest that the coffee was ready. After the result came out, Chen I left. Forget it. Let's go next time. Zhang Benzi said depressedly. Where are we going? Have you made a decision? Chen asked 2NP to Shaolin and Yuenshin and Yi. That, you decide. In fact, I have no opinion. Shaolin said that Shaolin has no opinion, no matter where you go. By the way, do you want to call Yuanzi? Shaolin asked Chen. The little three please call Yuanzi. If the group can come, then let Yuanzi come over. Chen said to Shaolin. Yeah. Xiao nodded, then called and informed Yuanshui. Shaolin, what's the matter? What's going on? Sonoko was very bored at home. After receiving a call from Shaolin, her eyes suddenly widened. Then she asked Shaolin, Sonoko, we are going out to play. I want to ask, are you free now? ? Shaolin asked Yuanzi, I'm free. Of course I'm free now. Yuanzi nodded her head, but she was very free now. That's right. Zonglin is just you and Hiyi. Is it? Yuanzi asked Shaolin. Of course it's not that Chen is actually there. Shaolin shook her head and said. Yuanzi shouted too loudly. Shaolin shook her head when she heard Yuanzi's shouting. Yuanzi was like this, a little frizzy. Let's go to Tropical Paradise. Come and find us there. Shaolin turned to Yuanzi said. 3 inches okay, I'll go there right away. After saying that, Yuanzi hung up the phone. Chen, 9 let's go to the Tropical Paradise. It's more fun there. Shaolan said to Chen. Okay. Chen nodded, then drove to the Tropical Paradise. In fact, the direction Chen and the others were heading for was the direction to the Tropical Paradise, so there was no need to turn around. Soon Chen and the others arrived at the Tropical Paradise. After waiting for a while, Yuanzi's phone has already called. Shaolin, where are you now? I've arrived at Tropical Paradise. Yuanzi asked Shaolin over the phone, we have seen you. Wait where you are, Chen said. Chen has already seen the garden who is looking around. Now you can walk directly to the garden. The group walked towards Yin, and soon the garden also saw Chen. They ran directly towards Chen, and immediately threw themselves on Chen's body. Yuanzi, can you be restrained? A little sadness. What else is there to say? Shaolin dragged Yuanzi down and looked at Yuanzi with dissatisfaction, feeling a little uncomfortable in her heart. Oh. Catalina gave Yi tongue, but still ran to Chen's side, and reached out her arm to hug Xiaoai looking at this, very dissatisfied, and stepped on Chen fiercely to vent her dissatisfaction. Do not act against Xiaoai's sister. Chen decided not to care about her. Let's go, let's enter the Tropical Paradise first. Chen Shenxian broke the arm of the garden, and then said. 3 Yuanzi, who was broken free, was a little disappointed. After purchasing the tickets, Chen and the others entered the Tropical Paradise, or maybe it was because of the holiday, there were a lot of people here. You wait, I'll go buy some ice cream. Chen said to them. Okay, Chen, hurry up. Sonoko nodded. Chen ran to the cold drink shop to buy ice cream, while Yuanzi, Shaolin, Yuenshin and Yi got together to discuss what to play for a while. 9. 165. The angry Conan and Hattori Heiji said, have you decided what to do? Chen came over after buying the ice cream and asked them a 3 inches well, I've already thought about it. How about we do the merry-go-round? It is estimated that Xiaoai will also like it very much. Sonoko said, I don't like spinning horses. Xiaoai said, for girls like spinning horses, Xiaoai actually doesn't like it. After all, Xiaoai is not a real child. Of course, he doesn't like things that only children like, and even feels very ashamed. If you let Xiao Ai go, Xiao Ai will definitely feel very ashamed, so Xiao Ai will not go there. What about you, Chen? Sonoko asked Chen again, and of course Chen won't pass. Sorry, merry-go-rounds aren't his thing. Let's change something, I think. How about playing a pirate ship? Zan said. After Chen's suggestion, they ran to play pirate ship, and after playing it once, Yuanxian and Yi said that they would never play this kind of thing again. Now Yuanshan and Yi feel that they are walking by themselves, they are all light and airy, as if they are about to fly. It's so uncomfortable, Yuanshan and Yi said involuntarily. 3 inches, I think it's better to take a rest. Xiaolan's face was also at 600, and her head was shaking. Okay, let's take a rest. Chen took them to the cold drink shop next to the country. Sit down, Hatobu. Isn't that Toyama and Yi? Once she didn't go back. Conan patted Hattori Heiji's hand and said to Hattori Heiji. Hattori Heiji, who was looking around, immediately looked in the direction Conan pointed. At the second glance, he saw Hekken sitting on the same high. Hattori Hei 2 feet's face turned gloomy all of a sudden. What the hell are Yuanshan and Yi doing? What does this mean? Don't you know that Hyuga Tatsuya is a dangerous person? No, I want to go over. Hattori Heiji was about to walk over, but was stopped by Conan and said, What are you doing, Kudo? 3 inches. Hattori Heiji frowned. Now Hattori Heiji is in a very bad mood. He originally came here to relax, but after seeing this scene, his mood instantly became unhappy. 3 inches, don't be impulsive. What can you do now in the past? Conan said, blood-wearing Hattori Heiji. Hattori Heiji was speechless. Indeed, just like what Conan said, after Hattori Heiji passed, it was good Kaba to say something like _____. Pan Jungdu, don't forget your childhood sweetheart, and now you are with Hyuga Chen. You are not afraid that she likes Hyuga bottom 2 inches, Hattori Heiji said to Conan. Conan was silent after hearing the words. Then he said seriously, I believe Xiao Orchid. Hattori Hei pouted. He didn't express his approval for Conan's words. Although he didn't want to admit it, Hyuga Chen's little white face was quite handsome, so, Hattori Heiji himself didn't have confidence in Toyama and Yi. Nada is precisely because of this that Hattori Heiji's reaction is so big. Damn, why did you come out to relax and meet Hyuga Chen? Heiji Hattori said angrily, but Heiji Hattori didn't go there either. It seems that he really gave up after hearing Conan's dissuasion. But that's not the case. It's just that Heiji Hattori doesn't know how to talk to Toyama and Yi after the past. Because of what happened with him last time with this guy Kudo, Toyama and Yi definitely don't want to see him now. Thinking of this, Hattori Aji hates Hyuga Tatsu even more. Now Hattori Heiji and Conan speculate. That person from that day. Definitely not in black. The person in the organization is Hyuga Chen. Unfortunately, there is no evidence. If there is evidence, Hyuga Chen will definitely be thrown into prison for punishment. What should we do now? Hattori asked Kudo. Now Hattori Heiji's heart is very complicated, and some can't make up his mind. So what does this Hanma Conan need to do? Observe them first so that they won't be discovered. Conan said to Heiji. He heard Conan's words. Looking at Conan's eyes again, Heiji knew that Conan didn't particularly believe in Shaolin. But Heiji also had this intention, so the two quietly hid. Observing Hyuga Chen and the others, Chen glanced at the back lightly. In fact, when Conan and Hattori Heiji looked over, Chen had already discovered them. They thought they were perfectly hidden now, but in Chen's eyes, there was no difference between them. There's no difference. But Chen didn't damage them. He turned around and handed Xie Baiken out to Shaolin and the others for fun, but he didn't want to bullshit them. Damn, Conan and Hattori Heiji bit Kiba and clenched his fists tightly, very angry. I don't know if Chen did it on purpose or not. Now he is having a close conversation with Shaolin and Yuanxian and Yi. Hattori Heiji was furious. This guy who dies. Could it be that he was trying to play Heiji's idea? Hattori Heiji's eyes suddenly softened. Conan is also the same as Hattori Heiji. Hyuga Chen, this bastard, is playing Shaolin's idea. No, Conan has long been got it. This bastard is trying to play Xiao Ran's idea. Xiao Ran, this idiot, doesn't know how to stay away from this guy Hyuga-chen. Hattori Heiji can't help it anymore, and walks directly over there. Conan sees Hattori. Heiji passed by, but he didn't stop him, and he followed. No, I just had to tell Shaolin. I feel that elementary school and Hyuga-chen are getting closer and closer. Conan is really scared now. Shaolin suddenly likes Hyuga-chen after all. This guy's attraction to girls is known to the group of students in the provincial school. Tan, Xiaolan shouldn't be so superficial in her appearance. Conan whispered alone, but even if Conan whispered to comfort himself, he couldn't dispel his inner panic. If Shaolin really likes this guy Hyuga-chen, then he really can't even cry. I went to the floor to cry. Conan and Hattori Heiji walked over in a threatening manner. Chen was indeed a little surprised. Chen was so close to Shaolin and Yuanchen and Yi just now that he really wanted to be angry with these two guys. Thinking of these two guys getting angry all of a sudden, Chen really wanted to laugh. I saw these two guys. They came over angrily. After Heiji Hattori came over, he slapped the table angrily. He was talking with Sonoko. Kazuya, who was suddenly startled, raised his head to look at the person who had come. 3. Hito Heiji. Heiji was a little surprised at this time. Why is Hattori Heiji still here? Didn't he go home? Also, what's the matter with the aggressive look? In a moment of anger, I felt very unhappy. The original good mood was completely destroyed. Similarly, Sonoko and Shaoran next to him were also very unhappy, because Hattori Heiji this time. Guy is rude. 9th, 166 chapters. Angry Hattori Heiji, why are you here? Toyama and Yi feel full of Hattori Heiji's rudeness. However, he still spoke to Hattori Heijima. I should ask you this, why are you here? Didn't you go back to Osaka? Hattori Heiji asked the brown scene with his face unchanged. What does this have to do with you? Hattori Heiji's tone was very not good. The same tone of Yuanchen and Yi. At this time, it didn't get any better. Heiji Hattori couldn't help but frown when he heard it, and his heart became even more unchanged. What does it have to do with you? Doesn't it matter? Conan, why are you still following him? Shaolin frowned slightly when she saw Anan. Xiaoran's impression of Hattori Heiji is very bad, and she is also very unfamiliar with Hattori Heiji. After all, it is impossible for Xiaoran to have any good impression of Hattori Heiji because of what happened last time. Now I don't want to beat Hattori Heiji, which is already good. This. Conan hesitated, not knowing what to say, and gave Chen a hateful look at the same time. Conan, what are you staring at me for? Chen smiled slightly, and then asked Conan. Conan, it's absolutely not allowed to be so rude. Do you know Guang? Xiaolan said to Conan seriously, and Xiaolan, who had a very unhappy expression on Conan's face, was really, Chengzai would actually speak for this guy, he really wanted him pissed off. However, he glared at Chen this guy indignantly, and then Conan retracted his eyes, so as not to be educated by Shaolin again. Hurry up and go back to me now. Hattori Heiji said to Yuanshan and Yi Ling. He was so annoyed by Hattori's command-like tone that Yuanshan and Yi suddenly stood up and asked angrily, why do you order? Toyama and Yi Dan, asked Hattori Heiji slightly. I'm doing this for you, it's not safe for you to stay here. Hattori Heiu also deliberately glanced at Chen, as if to say that Chen is a villain. Hattori Heiji's eyes have been seen by Shaolin and Sonoko, and their brows are slightly wrinkled. Hattori Heiji's this, what do you mean? When do you want to say that Tatsu is a bad guy? Ran and Sonoko, who were already full of hatred for Heiji Hattori, all of a sudden, the senses of Heiji Hattori were completely reduced to freezing point. I said, you black charcoal. Don't you think you're an eyesore here? Sonoko pointed at Hattori Heiji unceremoniously and said that being pointed at the nose is rude. Hattori also admitted that he looks a little dark, but it's not black. Charcoal. Sonoko's words are a bit ugly, but it's right. Sonoko's sense of Hattori Heiji has been reduced to a minimum. It's not an exaggeration to say anything. You don't think what you said. M.I. Rabbit is a little rude, isn't it? It also depends on who you are, let alone are you polite. Come over and slap the table, why are you doing such harm? Sonoko said angrily. Hee, what are you talking about? Knowing such a bad guy, he's even worse than Kudo-shin. Sonoko couldn't help but said to Yuenshin and Yi. Conan lay down his gun innocently. He couldn't help biting Kiba, staring at Sonoko. Sonoko is a 38, it's nothing to cry on him. 1. I really don't have any good feelings at all, because Sonoko often speaks ill of him in front of Shaolin. But Conan doesn't think about it either. Is there any sentence that Sonoko said is wrong? No, what Sonoko said is actually true. This guy Kudo Shinichi is indeed a bit bad. Sonoko often feels injustice for Shaolin, that's why he says so. Sonoko, don't mention Kudo-shin. Shaolan said. Now Shaolan doesn't want to mention that guy Kudo Shinichi. Hearing Shaolan's words, Conan's eyes couldn't help but darken. Let's change place. Toyama and Yi stood up and said. Anyway, Toyama and Yi at this time didn't want to see Hattori Heiji. Seeing Toyama and Yi going to leave, Hattori Heiji immediately called out. Hattori Heiji must let Toyama he leaves with Hii, otherwise, he will feel uneasy. 3. Who knows that Hyuga-chen didn't open a guy? Will he do anything to Hii? Now Hii is very dangerous. What else do you do? Yuan Yama and Yi's expression has cooled down. Originally, I was in a good mood today, but now after meeting Hattori Heiji, Toyama and Yi are in a very bad mood. Facing Toyama and Yi's bad tone, Hattori Heiji is very I wanted to get angry. But in the end, I made a rational choice to suppress the anger. Uncle Shilang Wu, Yuenshin Silver, should be very worried about you, so you should go back. Hattori Heiji endured the anger in his heart and said, this has nothing to do with you. Toyama and Yi glanced at Hattori Heiji, and then said, one sentence has nothing to do with him. Let Hattori Heiji completely unable to suppress his anger. He couldn't help but overturn the table in anger. Hey, what are you doing to Hattori? Conan hurriedly stretched his hair and pulled Hattori Heiji to flip the table. Maybe he was going to look at the gins and drink tea. Look at the socks on the front desk next to him. Now he has to pick up the phone and call the police. After all, this is a cold drinks company. The store, Hattori Heiji's actions just now made the guests run away several times. However, the staff at the front desk temporarily suppressed the unhappiness and did not take care of it for the time being. But now that the table is overturned, it will not work, and it needs to be taken care of. Just when they were about to call the police, Conan immediately walked over to apologize, and then let them down. Kazuo glanced at Hattori Banu, only frowned slightly, and then left. Shaolin Kazuo Sonoko followed. Of course, Chen turned around and showed a meaningful smile to Hattori Heiji, then took Xiao Ai's hand and followed Shaolan and the others. Damn, what exactly does that mean? Angry Hattori Heiji wanted to follow up. Do you really call the police? If you do call the police, then Hattori Heiji is the unreasonable party. At that time, it will not only be a matter of losing money and apologizing, but will likely be detained. After all, the Metropolitan Police Department is investigating, because last time I have a very bad impression of Hattori Heiji. Kudo, why are you pulling me? Don't be so loud. Okay, what if someone else hears it? Conan pulled Mobe Heiji. He even called him Kudo in a low voice outside, and he called him so loudly, because he was afraid that others would not know his identity. Chapter 160. Tracking is also a must-have skill. You better pay compensation, otherwise. Then don't blame us for calling the police. The two waiters said to Hattori Heiji and Conan, of course. They won't look down on this kid. So of course it was Hattori Heiji. How much? Chii Heiji asked angrily. 100,000 yen. One of the waiters said to Hattori Heiji. What? You said 100,000 yen too, are you robbing 9? Hattori Heiji froze after hearing it. Didn't he just overturn a table, and it cost 100,000 yen? Yen's compensation, does he take him as a grievance? 1. Since the woman is born, there is nothing to say, we will call the police now. Don't forget that all the customers in the store have run away because of you. The waiter picked up the phone and said, May 1st, to call the police. Heiji hurriedly said, forget it, 100,000 yen is 100,000 yen. Heiji Hattori also doesn't want to deal with the police officers and the others. Because Heiji Hattori also knows it. The police officer Sugumi doesn't have a good impression of him. Although these waiters are suspected of extortion, there is also his fault in this. Even if it is such a machine, Hattori Heiji is still very unhappy in his heart. After eating one, the body of the stomach has lost a lot of money, and now he is very unhappy in serving Lee Heiji. But 100,000 yen is no problem for Hattori Heiji to take out. Let's go Kudo, let's get out of here. The angry Hattori Heiji is pulling Konan. Just want to open this tropical paradise. But he was caught by Konan. Wait and Hattori, are you really leaving like this? Can you really feel relieved? Konan's meaning was very obvious in the direction of leaving, and Hattori Heiji could feel it. Hattori Heiji, who was furious, wanted to open high. At this time hesitating for a while, he really didn't want to leave at this time. Let's follow up and see, who knows what Hyuga-chen will do. Konan said to Hattori Heiji. Listen to Konan's words. Hattori Heiji just hesitated, and then agreed. To be honest, Hattori was not at ease, so he wanted to keep up, but he was just a self-esteem in his heart. I don't want to keep up, so as not to be stunned by Yuan-shan and Yi-young, but now I have said this. It can be regarded as a step for Hattori Heiji. Hattori Heiji also immediately walked off the steps. Go, let's follow and lose Yukong. Hattori Ryu immediately dragged Konan to follow. Zero and Konan, who was being dragged by Hattori Heiji, turned his dead fish eyes and looked at Hattori Heiji. Why are you dragging me? Konan wanted to break free Zero, but he didn't have the strength of Hattori Heiji. Konan, a primary school student in the L district, whereas Hattori Heiji. Although the elementary school student Konan is fake, but even so, after Hanan became smaller. His strength has also become so small. I can go. Konan finally couldn't bear it any longer. He said to Hattori Heiji. You're so slow, you might get lost. Stop talking nonsense. Hattori Heiji dragged Konan while Konan struggled for a long time. He still felt unable to struggle, and Wu-na had no choice but to give up. Sonoko said angrily. Sonoko, why are you so angry? Chen felt Yuanzi's anger was inexplicable. I just see that black charcoal doesn't change. Sonoko said the reason why he felt angry. Yes, it was because he felt the same after watching Hattori Heiji. But Hattori Heiji didn't seem to provoke Sonoko. I really don't know why Sonoko was upset when he saw Hattori Heiji. Xiaoran, you seem to be are you unhappy? Chen looked at Xiaolin who lowered her head and asked. Xiaolin, who seemed to have something on her mind, raised her head and looked at him with suspicious moonlight. Kiss. I'm sorry I was distracted just now, so I didn't hear it at all. Xiaolin stroked her head embarrassedly. I'm saying, Xiaolin, you don't seem happy, you seem to have something on your mind. If you have something on your mind, you can talk to me about it. Chen said to Xiaolin. Yeah, okay Xiaolin, you seem to really have something on your mind. I don't know what you have in mind, can you say it? Sonoko nodded and looked at Xiaolin. You are very concerned about Xiaodian Garden. Oh 5, actually, it's because I'm just a little strange, why Konan is still together with Heiji Hattori. Xiaolan shook her head slightly and said inexplicably. Xiaolan really can't panic, why is Konan still staying with Hattori Heiji now? Did you forget the hurt last time? After Xiaolan said this, and the expression on the spit is also a bit weird. Yes, why is Hattori Heiji still having a relationship with Konan? Does Hattori Heiji have any special hobbies? At this time, Heiji was a little suspicious. They seemed to be following behind. Xiao-ai glanced back, but when Xiao-ai looked back, Hattori Heiji and Konan immediately hid, as if they were thieves. They didn't get discovered. The little girl's reaction was really sharp, unexpectedly. Able to discover us. Hattori Heiji took a deep breath and said. After all, he was with that guy Hyuga-chen. In fact, Chu is also very suspicious of Haibara Jing, Konan said because he was a classmate. As above, because he and Chen are in the same block, Konan is also in his heart. Pay more attention to Hyuan I. 3 After watching the case, Kyu felt more and more that Hyuan was not simple and definitely not an ordinary child. Anyway, it was definitely not like an ordinary child. Of course, Conan did not doubt Xiaoai either. Like him, he took that kind of medicine because Conan thought it should be just an accident, there should be no more. The second one with the same 2.2 as him. Also, I don't want to believe it. There are still people who are with him. Latter has taken that kind of medicine and became smaller. After all, if it really exists. The second person's words mean that he, me, and him are very dangerous. Perhaps knowing that this medicine can make a person smaller, the black-clothed organization can be found on his head, so because of this reason, in Conan's heart, he is the only person with a very small phase change, and the black-clothed organization has no idea about the genius. They're following. Where are they? Why didn't I see it? Sonoko turned her head and wanted to find Hattori Heiji and Conan. But didn't see it. Of course, it is impossible to see, because Hattori Heiji and Conan have well hidden Sonoko's ability at this time. Of course, it cannot be found. As a detective, sometimes tracking is also a necessary skill, and ordinary people can't find it. Chapter 968. The unfortunate Sonoko, it seems that we have been discovered, do we still want to follow? Conan asked Hattori Heiji. Conan is sure that Haibara-I has discovered them. As long as Haibara-I discovered them, it also means that Hyuga-chen also discovered them. Tenten, follow, of course I have to follow. Hattori Heiji gnashed his teeth and nodded. As for why Hattori Heiji gnashed Kiba's teeth like this, of course, it was because Yuenshin and Yi were standing very close to Chen now. After seeing this scene, Hattori Heiji became jealous. I can't wait to run over now and tear apart that guy Hyuga-chen. Conan nodded, and to be honest he didn't want to leave either. 3 inches Xiao-ai, you must have read it wrong. Why didn't I see the black charcoal following the garden and asked Xiaoyi. Look over there. Xiao Aiwei pointed, and when Xiao Ai Dian pointed, Hattori Heiji and Conan happened to look over here because they looked over. Sonoko also happened to see Hattori Heiji and Conan who were peeping towards this side. It turned out to be secretly following us. Sonoko's brows furrowed, and she felt unrequited in her heart. Sonoko is very angry now that no one has been followed. Too hateful. I'll drive them away, Sonoko said angrily. Just as Yuanzi was about to pass, Chen suddenly stretched out his hand to hold Yuanzi, and shook his head gently towards Yuanzi. Okay, ignore them. Let's go play. Otherwise, the whole day will be wasted. I came here just to play with Heiji, and Conan, and also, if these two guys are together now, will something happen? Yi-Chen felt that it would be strange if nothing happened. Never mind. Anyway, what happened to Hai Lun would not affect his ability to be self-willed. Let's go, let's play with bumper cars. Chen pulled a few girls and ran over to play with bumper cars. Xiao Ai, do you want to get up with me? Chen asked Xiao Ai. Humph tilde. Xiao Ai hummed softly, but Chen was still sitting on a bumper car. Just sat in Chen's arms. Chen looked at Xiao Hao Yuhi's moistened earlobe, and a smile appeared on his face, but Xiao Ai didn't see Chen's smile. Chen, I came to Yuanzi to drive the car. I hit Chen and I didn't even start. I was hit on the guardrail. The most important thing is that Yuanzi didn't leave at all, so I was just holding Chen's car. Yuanzi, you are like this. It's embarrassing. Chen looked at the grinning Yuanzi and said, his car was blocked, and he couldn't move at all. He couldn't even get out of it. Hee, you have your own way. Yuanzi looked at Chen Thief helplessly. The expression on his face is even better than the smile on his face. Sonoko, you have to be careful, I advise you to avoid it now. Chen kindly raised the question mark on the other side of Yuanzi to Yuanzi, then turned his head equals look, and saw Shaolin driving a bumper car, hit Yuanzi, directly knocked Yuanzi out, and Chen and Xiao Ai were also able to escape. Ah, Shaolin, what are you doing? Yuanzi looked at Shaolin thoughtfully, while Shaolin gave Yuanzi an embarrassed look back. Me too. Playing bumper cars for the first time. So the control is not good at all. Shaolin is very embarrassed. Unlike driving, bumper cars are much more flexible. It's generally not really controllable. But Shaolin also can't drive. No, I have to hit it back. Yuanzi said that he must take revenge. Looking at Shaolin aggressively, she panicked when she saw Shaolin. Yuanzi hadn't done anything yet, when He was bumped into the corner, looking at Yuan Shanhei with tears in his eyes. Why did the Duke bully me? Sonoko, I said I didn't mean it, do you believe it? He asked towards Sonoko in a low voice. What do you think? Yuanzi looked at He resentfully and asked. Looking at Yuanzi's resentment, he knew that Yuanzi didn't believe it at all. That's right. Now Yuanzi felt that He was deliberately bullying her. Why is she so stubborn? Yuanzi, you deserve it. With a schadenfreude smile on Chen's face, the smile made Yuanzi's resentment hit Shigong again. Chen's bumper car hit Yuanzi's car, and Yuanzi was so angry that he wanted to cry. Yuanzi, I said it was controlled by Xiao Ai, would you believe it? Chen said to Yuanzi, I believe it's strange. Sonoko turned to Byakugan, and didn't believe it was Xiao Ai Sao 3. In Sonoko's eyes, Chen was just to get revenge for the 2 blows just now, so it's really hateful to hit her. But Yuanzi really bought a pull. This time it's really not Chen Zuji's, it's really Xiao Ai who is in control. Chen looked down at Xiao Ai. However, Xiao Ai didn't look at Chen, but the corners of her mouth were slightly raised, as if she was very happy. Just now, Xiao Ai and Chen were in the same car, and Yuanzi suddenly bumped over. Of course, Xiao Ai felt a little unhappy in her heart. That's why he manipulated the bumper car and rammed it towards the garden. You all bullied me, and I will definitely take revenge. Yuanzi shouted angrily. So, the skin is poor, Yuanzi, you have said so, then I don't plan to be polite to you. Chen showed a smile to Yuanzi. Smile. However, this smile made Yuanzi feel a strong threat, and at this time Yuanzi wanted to recognize Kong. But on the face of it, he didn't want to admit it. 450_. Hey, who's afraid of who? Shaolin, you must help, and hi, let's deal with the bad guy Chen together. Yuanzi shouted to Shaolin and hi, I'm sorry Yuan, I'm afraid I really can't help. Get on you, I'm not familiar with the real car, so I'm afraid it will be a disservice. Bai Heiyi said to Yuanzi. He hit Yuanzi just now, and it really wasn't intentional by Hai, but he couldn't control it, and Yuanzi was shocked. So it will be bumped into. It's okay, anyway, we are playing bumper cars. We were originally meant to bump and play. Sonoko said with a smile. I want spring. Sonoko drove the bumper car and hit Chenjing. But when he was about to meet, Chen slammed in a direction, and then drifted with a tail, knocking Sonoko out, and at the same time he left the place. What? Started the car again in a huff, and said that he would never give up if he didn't hit Chen. At the same time, he was still greeting Shaolin and Yi, asking them both to help together. Shaolin and Yi Bian couldn't beat Yuanzi's request, and then they helped Yuanzi together. Prepare the 3 to encircle Chen and Xiao Ai together. Well, it's mainly Chen, Xiao Ai is just incidental, who told Kaijing and Chen to stay in a car, but there is time and Yi's help. It's better not to have Guozi but was knocked out by them several times. Yuanzi is very resentful. 9th, 160 chapters. Attack of Tropical Paradise. Stop playing. Stop playing, I won't play with you. Sonoko stopped. Lai waved his hand and said that the injured person was her, so Yuanzi wondered if Xiaodeng and He were targeting him. Then go play with other things. Anyway, I feel a little bored now. Chen nodded and said, don't you stop playing. Shaolin and Yi and the 2 girls are still playing bumper cars. The 2 of them are really playing for the first time. So have fun. Let's go over there to play. Yuanzi pointed to the children's playground not far away, towards Chen 3 inches. Student Yuanzi, you are too old to go there now, don't you realize that the people inside are you a child? 9 Chen said to Yuanzi, checking the fees very seriously. I want to take Xiao Ai to play, definitely not by myself. Sonoko Vice vowed to say every day. However, the words of the garden. Chen felt that the credibility was not high at all. It was clearly Sonoko who wanted to play in the past. I'm not interested in that. Xiao Ai refused directly. This is also Chen's expectations. If Xiao Ai was really interested, it would be really strange. Big, Xiao Ai is not interested, that's a pity. Sonoko lowered his head in disappointment. If it is to let Sonoko go by herself, although there are no rules there, too many people are not allowed to pass by, but Sonoko is embarrassed. After all, she is also a high school student. If you bring a garden, maybe it can also be said that he played with the children. Now that Xiao Ai is not interested, there is no reason for Yuanzi. Yuanzi, don't be so childish, okay. Chen patted Yuanzi on the shoulder, as if to comfort Yuanzi, but seeing the smile on Chen's face, Yuanzi felt that he was laughing at himself. The little Lanyans complained that a coffee was just as soon as they came back, and they saw Hattori Heiji and Conan sneaking behind. Those two guys seemed to be following. Sonoko frowned. I heard Sonoko talking about those two guys. Shaolin and Hiei were stunned for a moment, and then they knew who Yuanzi was referring to. At this time, it is definitely not other people, it must be Hattori Heiji and Conan He too. Shaolin looked back, but did not find Hattori Heiji and Conan. I thought it was hidden. But Shaolin really doesn't understand why Conan and Hattori Heiji have such a good relationship. We play ours, ignore them. Yuan Shan and Yi glanced back and said. Boom. The sound of the explosion, couldn't it be something happened? Chen, who was about to say something, suddenly heard the sound of an explosion. He couldn't help but get weird and then looked back at Heiji and Conan. Could it be an accident that happened because of them? It's on the Ferris wheel. Xiaolan pointed to the Ferris wheel with thick black smoke in the distance. It should have been the Ferris wheel that exploded just now. I think it's better for us to leave first at this time, what do you think? Chen looked at Shaolin and Yuanzi with questioning eyes. Well, I agree. Sonoko nodded in agreement. 3 Although Yuan Yujia likes to watch the fun, but Yinyi also knows how lively he can watch, and what can't be watched. Such an explosion must not go to join in the fun, and life is the most important thing. Xiaolan and Hiei also nodded. They won't run over to join in the fun. It's too dangerous. Who knows if it was a terrorist? Of course, it may just be an accident, but the possibility is really not high. After all, how could the cabin of the Ferris wheel for no reason explode? Bang el bang, bang el, a series of gunshots rang out, which also made Chen confirm that it was a terror attack, and with Hattori Heiji and Conan in it, there was absolutely no good thing. Because the gunshots sounded, countless people ran outside. Go, the people in the heat protection park are not fools. The gunshots are still audible. At this time, no one has time to call the police. 7. They all ran outside in a panic. Let's call the police. Xiaolan immediately took out her cell phone and carried it to the police. Officer Kimu, I'm Xiaolan, we're in charge of lead, there seems to be an attack here, we heard explosions and guns. Xiaolan, we're on our way to Tropical Paradise, and Ma Shi will arrive. Officer Mumu replied. After hanging up on Xiaolan, he said, Officer Mumu and the others have arrived. However, Officer Chimu and the others seemed to have known that an accident had occurred here. Don't have so many routes, let's go quickly, otherwise it will be dangerous. Sonoko grabbed Xiaolan's hand and said. Xiaolan nodded, suddenly stunned, and then she couldn't help but say, where's Conan? Will he run over to have fun? Xiaolan also knew that Conan likes to run to dangerous places. What should he do if he suddenly ran over? That kid isn't an idiot. He shouldn't run over. Don't worry, Lan. Sonoko comforted Xiaolan. Yeah, there should be no danger with Hattori Heiji. Toyama and Yi said. However, it is precisely because of Hattori Heiji that it is even more dangerous. Hattori Heiji has the same character as Kudo Shinichi. If something is really dangerous, not only will he not escape, he will also just rush up. Now that the two of them meet, of course they will run over to check the situation. As for whether there will be any danger, please, are the two of them afraid of any danger? Just now, Chen found out. Hattori Heiji and Conan ran towards the place of the explosion. Chen didn't pay attention to this. Chen really wanted to see if they could really kill the protagonist's halo, whether it is possible to protect them all the time. Young Guochen thinks it is unlikely. If you die like this, maybe one day you will directly kill yourself. 3 inches. Let's go, Zhao Haofu, let's leave first. Chen pulls up Lanhe Xiao I, walked outside. Why don't you pull me? Yuanzi pouted, and then followed directly to Feng Feng. After a while, a siren sounded, and the police arrived here. Immediately began to evacuate the crowd. Hey, isn't that Sato Mawako's sister over there? When Shaolin saw Sato Mawako, who was evacuating the crowd at a glance. Shaolin, your eyes are so good, you can see it here. Chen couldn't help saying. 9. Now they are far away from Kaomi Kazuko's location. I didn't expect that at such a long distance, Shaolin could still see clearly. Should we go over and ask? 1. Under what happened? No, let's not disturb Sister Mei and Z's work. Sonoko, don't be so 8 trigrams. Shaolin said to Sonoko. 9th, 170th chapters. Attack of Tropical Paradise Part 2. Mawako should have seen us. Chen looked at it and said that, and Mawako, who came over from their side, said yes. Just when he was evacuating the crowd, Mawako saw Chen and the others at a glance. Chen, you guys also there? Mawako came over and said. Mawako's sister, may I ask what happened? It looks like a lot of money. Sonoko asked curiously. Sonoko prefers 8 trigrams, with a look on his face that I really want to know. It's a terrorist attack. Mawako explained the reason. It could be regarded as an act of revenge. This time, it was done by an organization. Before, when the leader of this organization was arrested by the police, they asked the question, and now they are doing it for revenge. Even before the explosion, he even sent a letter to the police directly, without any intention of concealing it at all. It can be said that he was provoking the police. Everyone in the Metropolitan Police Department was very angry about this, and they dared to speak directly to the police. Provocation, this is too rampant. It seems that the leader of this organization, very prestige, even after he died, there were 580 people who wanted to help and take revenge. 3. Is an organization similar to Come to Teach, and the quality of the organization has regarded their leader as the true god. Sato Mawako shook his head and said, Oh, I didn't expect Li Hong to have such an organization. Chen was a little surprised. This is normal, but we have worked hard. Mawako complained. Most of the people who organize like this are lunatics. It's crazy, let's get out of here. Meihazy said to Shaolin and the others. Meihazy was not worried about Chen. She knew that Chen would not be in danger, but Shaolin and the others were ordinary people. In his hand, but Zheng Yi, who had a lot of explosives, detonated the explosives in a frenzy, and ordinary people were in danger. Well, we will leave right away. Yuanzi nodded. Although Yuanzi is very lively, it is not to be seen. If you are not careful, you will lose your life. Yuanzi said that she is still young and has not caught up with Chen. She is not willing to die like this. So safety is first. Abi the way, Sister Mawako, you have to be careful too. Kuniko said to Mawako with concern. 2 inches, don't worry, I'll be fine. Mawako smiled. Since Hekken learned ninjutsu, Mawako is no longer an ordinary person. Shin is not afraid of any danger. Even if there is real danger, Mawako believes that she can absolutely guarantee her own safety. Explosives. She is not afraid of anything. Tense as long as the other party has no missiles, Mawako can absolutely guarantee her own safety. In fact, the other party really has a different bomb, and Mawako is also absolutely safe. Mawako is Chen's woman after all. Chen will of course stay with Mawako. What are you going to do? Don't even think about hurting Mawako even if it's a single one. Besides, it's difficult to get a bazooka for a small organization. Not to mention the impracticality of missiles. Then let's leave the tropical paradise first. Chen said to the girls. I really don't know those criminals. Will the tropical paradise be blown up? If it is really blown up, then there will be no way to play here in the future. Yuanzi said with a pity face. Shaolin couldn't help looking at her with a black head. Yuanzi, what are you talking about? Yuanzi has left her tongue, but Yuanzi also doesn't want those criminals to blow up the tropical paradise. I guess the tropical paradise, the chairman of the board, I'm afraid I will cry to death now. Chen couldn't help but smile. Ah, it seems that Tropical Paradise also has shares in my family. Sonoko remembered at this time that their Suzuki Consortium seemed to be one of the shareholders of Tropical Paradise. Is that so? Doesn't that mean that the Tropical Paradise is yours? He looked at the garden in surprise. Arling Shu World Group is only one of the shareholders of CA__BG, and it is the largest shareholder, and it is not our family. Otherwise, we can't get it from my mother. Yuanzi said involuntarily, touching his chin. A&E suddenly looked at Yuanzi L's local tyrant speechlessly, and they really couldn't afford it. That's right. My mother seems to want to see you. Sonoko looked at Chen and said as Sonoko's words. Chen couldn't help thinking of Tomoko Suzuki, a mature woman. I wanted to find Tomoko Suzuki when I had time, and Chen couldn't help but move. Chen, what are you thinking? Shaolin asked Wei Xiang suspiciously. I didn't think about anything more than what plans you have now. Do you want to save it here and see it, or do you really want to leave? Chen looked at the girls and asked. Now that we have left the Tropical Paradise, it is safe here, let's take a look here. Now that safety has been ensured. Yuanzi wants to join in now, join in the fun. Isn't there a lot of people around here to join in the fun? By the way, what about Hattori Heiji and Conan? Why didn't you see them? Shaolin Yugong looked around, but she didn't see the two of them. Are the two of them still inside? Shaolin's heart immediately pretended to be you. They should have come out, maybe they have already left. He frowned slightly, and she was also very worried in her heart. Although Heiji has some spears now, Kazuha doesn't want Hattori to have an accident. Conan's character is very jumpy, and that Hattori Heiji is also a nosy, maybe he really didn't come out. Sonoko say the world, then what should I do now? Shaolin's expression became anxious. If you kill yourself, then the kill is either dead or alive. Xiao Ai said coldly. What Xiao Ai hates the most is this kind of guy who obviously has no ability, but still likes to be brave. He has to put himself on it to be happy. I'll go in and have a look, you can help me take care of Xiao Ai. Chen Shang Xiao Lan they said. Chen, it's too dangerous for you to go in. Xiao Lan Lao, Yi and the others quickly said that they didn't know what was going on inside. That's right, I believe that they will kill themselves. You don't want to go in to save them, right? Maybe they have already come out. Sonoko also refused to let Chen in. Because it is too dangerous. Who knows what will happen after they go in. When they came out, they heard gunshots and a series of dense gunshots. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Chen Wei waited and walked inside. When Shaolin was about to go to Dechen to pull it back, Xiao Ai suddenly grabbed her hand. Don't worry, he will be fine. Xiao Ai said between Xiao Lan. Xiao Ai went in by herself. You can guarantee your own safety, nothing will happen. Not to mention Chen, he will be absolutely fine. 9th, 171 chapters. Angrily scolding the mother and the tomb police officer, Mawako. Chen went over and patted Mawako on the shoulder, and Mawako, who was carefully observing, was surprised. Why did you come in? Mawako asked involuntarily, looking at Chen. I just came in like this. I came in to see the excitement. I shouldn't mind Tilda, Chen said with a smile. Chen ran in, but not to rescue Hattori Heiji and Conan. To be honest, Chen actually came here to watch the fun. If the police officer of the Tomb of the Moon sees it, he will definitely invite you out. Mawako whispered. After all, in the eyes of the police officer of the Tomb of the Moon, Chen is an ordinary citizen, and he will definitely not let Chen stay here. If something really happened to Chen, Officer Mu would be responsible. Of course, Chen couldn't have an accident at all. They have many workers, haven't they solved it yet? There are not many people, only 5 of them, but a group of people was kidnapped by them, and they also put explosives. We dare not act rashly. Sato Mawako said a little helpless. It's mainly those explosives. If they don't solve the explosives, they won't dare to touch them at all. Of course, if Mikazu Sato showed his true strength, then of course there would be absolutely no problem. However, Sato Makiko didn't want to reveal his real code and showed off his unusual abilities after Era knew if it would bring any trouble. Nada Sato Mikazu was especially afraid of causing trouble to Chen, so she didn't make a move and could only wait here. Chen and Sato Mawako were talking. The serious-faced police officer Mumu came over. There were several police officers next to him. And the tomb police officer came to Chen. Looking at Chen seriously, he said, "Brother Chen, please leave this place immediately." If it was the first class of the police to investigate the scene, the tomb police officer would have no real encounter. But this is not an ordinary homicide scene. 10 lives are in danger here, and now all the people except the kidnapped people have been evacuated by the police officer Mumu. Just now Chen was chatting with Sato Mawako, and was seen by some policemen, and then ran over to report to the police officer at the Tomb of the Moon. They want to hire the tomb police officer. Come on Hyuga Chen to drive away. The police of the Metropolitan Police Department don't really like Chen. After all, Sato Mikazu is the police flower of the Metropolitan Police Department. When Hyuga Chen and Kazuomi and Zilling are so close, of course some people can't see it. And the tomb police officer, "I am here. I'm looking for someone." Chen smiled softly, then said to Officer Mumu. Shida said that he was looking for someone later, and Officer Kimu's brows were lightly wrinkled, and then Moonlight looked at Sato Miko next to him. Zero White after seeing Sato Mawako. Officer Mumu seemed to understand everything. He nodded and said, "Brother Chen, are you worried about the safety of Officer Zuowan?" Thinking of the relationship between Chen and Bayo Zhonghezi, and the danger here. It's normal to run around to take a look, but although the public order knows it's normal, the police officer at the Tomb of the Moon will never allow it. 3 inches. Although I know what you are worried about, Brother Garin, it's very dangerous here. It's best to leave quickly. Don't worry, Officer Sato will never have an accident. We'll let Sato Mawako rush to the front. Even though Sato Mawako is very shrewd and capable, but the real danger, and the police officer will definitely not let her take the risk. No, in fact, I believe that Mawako will not be in any danger. I was looking for Hattori Heiji and Konan Chen and pulled out Hattori Heiji and Konan, but he really didn't come here to find some kind of Hattori Ganshi and Konan. I came here purely to watch the fun, and most of the time. The reason why I mentioned these 2 guys is to prevent the police officer from the Tomb of the Tomb. What, Chen, did you persuade Heiji and Konan to be there too? I talked about it just now. The fixed police officer, I became restless all of a sudden, and the whole person became nervous. I never saw that Hattori Heiji was also here. As Hattori Heiji, there must be no accident. If something happened to Hattori Heiji, that Hattori Heiji's father, Hattori Haizang, will definitely be furious. And although the police officer doesn't want to see Hattori Heiji in his heart, he absolutely cannot let Hattori Heiji have an accident, otherwise he won't have to be a policeman. The angry Hattori Haizang will definitely put him in trouble. His anger was vented on his head. Even though Hattori Haizu had a good reputation, Hiyori's own son died. Who knows if he will do something fun. Zero asking for flowers, it's all possible, now, and the police officer is so angry that he wants to drive the maid. That Hattori Heiji, it's not good to return to Taiji, so he has to stay here for what to do. If something happens here, he will be responsible for it. Damn, Hattori Heiji, why did you come here? Didn't you go out before? And the police officer couldn't care to let Chen go out at this time, and was in a hurry. Chen light fate, with Hattori Heiji and Konan's ability to kill. How could they easily open high? It is estimated that not only will they not leave, but they will directly join in. The evaluation may now be considered a hostage. Chen's guess is correct, and the current Hattori Heiji and Konan have indeed become hostages and have been arrested. Hattori Heiji and Konan are discussing countermeasures, how to get rid of those criminals and then give them all out. Even if they have guns, even your shoes won't work, Hattori Heiji said to Konan too. His enhanced shoes will never solve the current crisis. Fortunately, Hattori Heiji and Kejian are not tied up now. Not only them, but the others were not tied up either. In fact, the number of these hostages is quite large. If they attack together, they may pay the price of several deaths. They can solve the criminals, but they dare not. After all, if they do it first, they are likely to be killed. No one dares to joke about their own lives. Even Conan and Hattori Heiji. And definitely don't dare to make fun of your own life. This is what they thought. In fact, in the eyes of outsiders, they often make fun of their own lives. Just like before, if they were going to leave, it is now safe. It's just that they had to come here to investigate, and then they were caught, and they were almost shot down. We seem to be powerless now. It seems that we can only wait for the police to come to help. Conan said in frustration. If you don't catch it, it's better to say. Still able to make some small movements, but now after being caught, the eyes of the criminals have been on them. Staring at him, Hattori Heiji and Conan didn't dare to make any small moves. Otherwise, they will be greeted with thousands of bullets. 9th, 172 chapters. Do you still have any plans? Antoon police officer, what do you do now? The policemen who followed behind police officer Zhixiang also heard it, and felt a little anxious in their hearts. If this is not done well, all of them will be able to get a job. This is related to their jobs. Now the most important thing is to get rid of those terrorists, and then rescue Hattori Heiji. And the Toon police officer rubbed with a headache. He rubbed his head and said, well, I'll inform the head of Hattori Heizang first. And after the Toon police officer thought about it, he was going to tell Hattori Heizang. Otherwise if something happened to Hattori Heiji, the consequences might be more serious. And the Toon police officer called Hattori Heizang's phone. However, the person who connected was not Hattori Heizang. Hello, Chief Hattori is in a meeting. If there is any urgent matter, please tell me first. It is related to Hattori Heiji's safety. Hearing that the police officer Sukuru said that it was related to Hattori Heiji's safety, the police officer who answered the phone couldn't care so much. Okay, I'm going to notify the head of Hattori now. The voice of Hattori Wangzo soon came. Officer Kimu, are you saying that something happened to Inuko? Although Hattori Heizang tried his best to remain calm, he could still hear the tension in his words. After all, Hattori Heizang has only one son, Hattori Heiji. If something happened to Hattori Heiji, he would be dead. That's it, we suspect that Hattori Heiji has now been hijacked by a group of terrorists. Police officer Kimu reported truthfully. I can't say for sure now, but I just suspect that Hattori Heiji was kidnapped. Although it's just suspicion, Officer Tsukiguro is still a little certain in his heart. After all, Officer Megumi also knows about Hattori Heiji. This guy is not the master of peace, and it would not be surprising if he was caught. Hattori was silent and was kidnapped by terrorists. Doesn't this mean that he is in danger? What is the situation now? 3. Hattori Heizang is going to ask about the situation first and then think of a way. Because the terrorists have firearms and weapons in their hands. They have also placed explosives around. We dare not approach them for the time being. What is their purpose? If it's for money, the amount guarantees the safety of the hostages and promises them conditions of. Hattori Heizang thought for a while and said that compared to money, human life is more important. Moreover, Hattori Heizang still has some selfishness in his heart. Don't forget that his son Hattori Heiji is also in it. If it's for money, that's fine, but their purpose is not for money, but for revenge. Kimu police officer said with a wry smile. 3. These terrorists actually want to give their bosses revenge. Now this group of people is crazy, saying that if they are not enough, they will detonate explosives and carry all the hell here. 3. Hattori Heizang's accomplices wrinkled. After Officer Mumu's remarks, he has thoroughly understood the purpose of those terrorists. Officer Mumu, hurry up and find the explosives now, and remove the explosives first. The most dangerous thing is not the firearms in the hands of the terrorists, but the explosives they have arranged. If you can't find all the explosives and dismantle them, then I'm afraid you won't be able to hit those dangerous people. Otherwise, the terrorists, if the explosives are suddenly detonated, the casualties caused by that time will be too much. I'm looking for it now, but the entire tropical paradise is Mrs. can't find it at all. In fact, regardless of whether Hattori Heiji will have an accident or not, as long as the incident this time is really too turbulent, Officer Mew will not have a good time. Do your best, if the dog is really in danger. Don't worry about him when necessary. Hattori Haizang thought for a while, and finally said to the police officer Kimu. And the tomb police officer was awe-inspiring when he heard this, but he didn't expect Hattori Haizang to be so careless. I will do my best to ensure that Mr. Ling is so careless. Security. The tomb police officer assured Hattori Haizang. Then he hung up the phone, and the police officer Mew also began to get serious. Brother Chen, this place is indeed very dangerous, and there are explosives, so I hope that Brother Chen will leave here soon. Chimu police officer still didn't want Chen to stay here, looked at Chen with a serious expression, and wanted to let Chen go out. Huge police hi. Why don't you let Chen follow me? Toshiko Sato said to the police officer Kimo. This. Instructor Kiji hesitated, letting Chen follow Mawako Sato, and the police officer Kimu was also very worried. 0__, don't worry. I understand Chen. Knowing Chen's skills, he will be fine with me. After Sato Mikazu's persuasion, Officer Mumu nodded, but he still instructed Sato Mikako to be optimistic about Chen and not to destroy their plan. 3 Then Higurashi left and went to arrange it. Do you still have plans? Chen curiously, she said to Miwa Zippin. No. Mawako shook her head, she hadn't made any plans at all. But Officer Jimyu is doing it now. I thought you guys already had a plan. Chen sat down and said. For such a thing, it is necessary to arrange a plan and wait for the analysis officer who specializes in analysis to come. I don't dare to act rashly. Sato Mikako shook his head and said. Inside is a group of terrorists. It is a group of terrorists who can do anything. If they are stimulated, they will probably pull the police and Oshi, to be buried with them. I'm not afraid of dying, so I deal with them. You have to be careful, and you have to kill them with one blow. You must not let them react. The most important thing now is to find the explosives, and the rest is easy to say. Mainly explosives, Sato Mikako said. After the explosives were detonated, there were not only 1 or 2 people who were injured. 4.2. 3 inches. If Heiji and Conan are really caught, it is estimated that at that time, they are trying to get out of trouble. It is estimated that the 2 of them can escape. Maybe more than 5 criminals can be dealt with. Chen said lightly. Chen, do you think highly of them? Just rely on the 2 detectives. Kudo Shinichi has become a child, what can he do? Sato Mikazu, I don't think I'm being arrested. Hattori Heiji and Conan, what ability will they have to escape? Don't underestimate them too much. In fact, their abilities are quite good. Chen said with a slight smile. Hattori Heijibo Conan has the ability, he just likes to die, plus Conan's protagonist Halo. It is not impossible for them to solve the 5 terrorist divisions. But Sato Miwazi thinks they can't do it at all. After all, those people have guns in their hands. 9th, 173 chapters. Deliberately attracting, Hatrobe, do you have any countermeasures? 2 inches. Conan asked Hattori Heiji. Countermeasures, where are there any countermeasures? 3 This place is only happy, there is no way to get lost. Besides, even if we can escape, this person may be out of anger, he will kill other hostages. Hattori Heiji shook his head and said that if he really wanted to leave, it's not impossible for Hattori Heiji and Conan to do so, but it was very serious. It was Hattori Heiji and Conan who didn't want to see. Then what should we do? Are we just waiting for the police's rescue? Conan said involuntarily. Then what can you do? Hattori Heiji asked Conan. A3 Conan was silent for a while, and then said, there must be a detonator on all of them. If they can take the detonator, everything is easy to handle. It's gone. As long as there is no threat from Shan, Conan feels that he and Hattori cooperate with the police outside, and can take out the father's terrorist. How to get it? We 20 can't do it at all. Hattori Heiji couldn't help but let out a wry smile. Now it is difficult even to do it, let alone to take the detonating device from the opponent's hands. Then we can only think of countermeasures. Conan frowned, thinking about countermeasures. Hattori Hikaru Shin was thinking seriously. How to get rid of this terrorist. Hattori Heiji now doesn't want to die. especially dying in the hands of these fearful divisions. He just doesn't want to. So you have to find a way to ensure your own safety. All these hostages must be rescued safely. Hatob, do you regret it now? Conan asked Hattori Heiji. At this time Hattori was flat. Do you regret it? If you don't come over. Now they are outside S3, so at least life safety doesn't need to worry at all. Now I have become a hostage in this electricity, and the safety of life is not guaranteed, but there is a great danger. I don't regret it. For me, there is nothing to regret. Hattori Heiji shook his head. He did not feel regret. Although I don't regret it, but I don't want to risk my life here. Kudo, do you think we can survive? Hattori asked Conan in a low voice. When he asked Conan just now, he noticed the fierce light in the eyes of the 5 people. Makilla after being held hostage for such a long time, Hattori Heiji also explained that what the other party did was not money. General hijacking of such people is partly for money, but the other party is not hijacked for money. Because they have been held hostage for so long, the other party has never mentioned the money. Had you found out, they seem to have deliberately attracted the police here. Hanan said to Hattori Heiji. Huh, what? Hattori Heiji looked at Conan suspiciously. Now this place should be surrounded by layers of police. If Kaifeng wants to escape, it will definitely not be easy. But even though the crisis is just around the corner, they are very calm and not surprised at all. Maybe they are too daring. Hattori Heiji said. Conan shook his head. No matter how daring he was, when facing the police, they, too, should be afraid. Even if it's really calm. It won't be so easy either. Now these guys just look relaxed. Their goal is not for money. I suspect they want to retaliate against the police. Maybe they have a grudge against the police. Attracting the police here, and then using the pre-arranged bombs, wants to perish with the police. Conan's own guess. If that's the case, that must be stopped. Hattori Heiji's expression was serious. I am afraid that most of the police officers of the Metropolitan Police Department have been transferred here. In addition to the hostages here, this adds up to more than 100 lives. So many lives, this is not a small matter. From the sidelines, even if it is Hattori Heiko, he can never do it without his hands and he will definitely play even though the 2 of them are not strong. But it will definitely take care of it. You too, what have you been muttering about? Hattori Heiji and Conan whispered. Naturally a thin young man was discovered by those terrorists. He walked towards Hattori Heiji and Conan, holding a pistol in his hand. The murderous group, from the murderousness in the eyes of the other party, Hattori Shiga and Conan can be sure that the guy in front of him has murdered people and now he is murderous. What do you want to do? Is it to attack them? Instantly Hattori Heiji and Conan became nervous, and their hearts were about to jump out. At this time, even the 2 famous detectives could not keep calm. At the juncture of life and death, even if it is a famous detective, the lamp is still panicked. What were you writing just now? But the young man came down with a fierce look on his face. At first glance, he knew he was a ruthless character. My brother was a little scared. I was comforting him just now. Hattori Heiji immediately thought up his words. Afraid. At this time, Conan also immediately showed a very scared expression, because he was a little scared in his heart, and now he dressed like this really very much. Hattori Heiji felt that Conan's the acting is not bad. I really didn't expect Conan to have such acting skills. 533 Since he is afraid, then I let him not be afraid. The young man suddenly smiled coldly. Gungwo raised the gun and pointed it at Conan's forehead. Conan's eyes flashed panic. This time, it was really not fake, but really scared. Spread all over Conan's body. Now Conan has only one thought in his heart, and that is to die. Conan felt like he was really going to die. What are you going to do? Hattori Heiji saw this and blocked Conan. Looking at Hattori Heiji who was standing in front of him without hesitation, Kamiao's eyes flashed move, he was really moved. At this moment of life crisis, Hattori Heiji actually sacrificed himself for him. How can Conan not be moved when he is blocked in front of him? Conan felt that if he were a woman now, he would definitely marry Hattori Heiji. But he is a man. Although the two have had that kind of relationship before, Conan is really not interested in men. The solemn and heavy electricity really has no interest at all. It seems that you really want to protect your brother, so you shouldn't take him here to die. The young man who learned guns smiled cruelly. He still remembered that these two guys came here on their own initiative and were caught by them. Chapter 974. Mawako Meritorious Crisis. Hattori Heiji and Conan encountered the biggest crisis. The young man in front of him was full of killing intent, and he really wanted to kill them. Wait to kill us, don't you want to run away? Hattori Heiji saw that he was about to pull the trigger. Said quickly, HMPH, we didn't intend to leave the young man's face. Seeing his mad look with a frantic look, Hattori Heiji and Conan's expressions were a burst. A gunshot rang out, and blood came out of Hattori Heiji's arm. Fortunately, Heiji Hattori dodged in time, otherwise his head would be exploded. Heiji Hattori bit Kiba, and the cold sweat kept dripping on his forehead. He was almost finished. The marksmanship is too bad. With such a close distance, they haven't hit the opponent yet. A middle-aged man walked over and said, XP, this kid reacts very fast, but the next shot. I can definitely blow his head off at such a close distance. He didn't hit the equals check, and he was very annoyed in his heart, especially when he was ridiculed and cursed. Wu was very angry and felt very embarrassed. At this time, Conan bit Kiba, and he couldn't care less. He immediately exposed the anesthesia watch that he injured. If he didn't do it again, Hattori Heiji would die and Conan didn't want to see it. Hattori Heiji collapsed in front of the painting. Besides, he was the one who the old fifth had wanted to kill, and Hattori Heiji could be said to be blocking bullets for him. Even if he took 10,000 steps back, even if Conan didn't know the other party, if he was the other party in the event of a life crisis, Conan will definitely help. He quietly opened the anesthesia watch, and then aimed at the neck of the fifth man with the gun, ready to shoot at any time. When he saw the other party's prisoner, he showed a touch of cruelty. At that time, he threw the anesthesia needle and shot it out. The anesthesia needle hit the opponent's neck, dizzy, and then fell down. I have to say that the anesthesia needle was very powerful. This anesthesia needle is so powerful that even a lion can be brought down. Fifth, what's wrong with you, Tilda? The middle-aged man saw that he was down and hurried over to check. At this time, Conan suddenly gave Hattori Heiji a wink. Hattori Heiji, who was suffering from the pain, bit his kiba and stood up. Then he opened his hand into a knife, and struck the middle-aged man's neck with the knife. Hurry up or resist, otherwise we will only have a dead end. Yobu Heiji shouted while doing his hands. XIP Hattori has practiced swordsmanship. Although Hattori Heiji doesn't have a sword in his hand now, he is using a hand sword as a sword for the time being. I feel, the middle-aged man didn't faint, but the opposite was true. It was Hattori Heiji who was thrown out. HMPH, Dao dares to do something to me, you're so brave. After he said these words, the hostages who were about to move suddenly didn't dare to take any action. Imperial brat, is it your hand to the old fifth? The middle-aged man held a gun to Conan's forehead, so that he didn't dare to make any moves. At the same time, 3 other people also gathered around, almost all in their 20s and 30s. Second, you mean this guy, let the fifth fall? ? Quote. It's this kid, I saw a cold light just now, like he shot at the fifth, it's definitely this kid. Then kill him first. Yan, Luan gunshots sounded, but it was not Conan who fell, but the second child, who was shot in the head by a bullet. Seeing the fallen second child and others were a little stunned, followed by anger and madness. Did the police really dare to attack them at this time, without any regard for the safety of the hostages? But this is just right. They are also ready to start, and now they will detonate the bomb and blow this tropical paradise into the sky. Although the explosives they arranged were not enough to blow up the entire tropical paradise, they were only half of it. There should be no problem. However, just as the old lady in their hair was about to take out the bomb's detonator. When he was about to detonate the bomb, a blood hole appeared on the top of his head. Next came the other 2, who were also shot dead by bullets. Not even the ability to react. The only one who survived was the fifth eldest, who was in a coma. It was precisely because he passed out that he was able to save the first one. In fact, he should be thankful that he fainted, otherwise he would have been shot to death as well. Conan stared blankly at the four guys who had been shot in front of the screen. How fast they were able to solve the four people and died within 2 seconds. Could there be a sharpshooter in the police? And there should be more than one. However, Conan really guessed wrong, returned the gun, and directly killed the 4 terrorists. That's right, Mawako. Chen chuckled and looked at Mawako and said. Toon police officer standing next to him. It's also a surprised stunt product when Mawako really has such a powerful marksmanship. Our whole flower is a sharpshooter. This is the thought of all the police officers of the Metropolitan Police Department. Is really a sharpshooter? No. Like sharpshooters can't do it either. Simply beyond their expectations. Still stunned, what are you doing? Hurry up and take out all the hostages. Officer Chi Mu took the lead and rushed forward. Don't look at the fat police officer's body. But the running speed is really not slow. This is a fat man who lives at home. Okay, Mawako, I did a good job this time and made a move. I should be able to be promoted to the police department. Zhenshang Mawako plays. Officer Mumu will believe me. This is true. Some libraries are beyond my expectations. Guy Hezi doesn't care about whether she is promoted or not, but the Toon police officer can trust her, which is very surprising to Mawako. Probably there is no way. So with the mentality of being a dead horse, Zhao of Zhao, as a living horse doctor, I agree to let you take action. Chen said guessingly. Earlier, Mawako suggested that she would snipe those 3 people, and promised to kill them and ensure the safety of the hostages equals at the beginning. The police officer Bei Kimu did not agree, and there was no sternness. Later the Toon police officer agreed directly. But it was really just like Chen's guess. Previously, the police officer Kimu only accepted the mentality of a dead horse as a living horse doctor before agreeing to Mawako mainly through observation, and the Mumu police officer saw that they were going to kill, so I can only let Mawako try it out, there is no other way. Even Yimu Qingguan has already made preparations for the failure. However, Mawako actually succeeded. In fact, this is for Kuro Kazuko, it's not difficult at all, even without a sniper rifle. Using Kunai's G to throw Mi Kazuko so far away, he can definitely kill them. Chapter 975. When it was over, Officer Mu and the others immediately took action to rescue all the hostages, and then brought the last terrorist under control. Leave 3 people to appease, and the others go to look for the bomb, and after finding it, they must not act rashly. In addition, Police Officer Mu was afraid that the group of people would act rashly and cause the bomb to explode. If this is the case, he can bear no responsibility. Also, send Hattori Heiji to the hospital. And the Toon police officer looked at Hattori Heiji and found that Hattori Heiji's arm was injured. He was shot through by a gun. But Hattori Heiji was fine. This made Officer Mogaku real. He was relieved that he was injured by a gun, but as long as his life was not in danger, Officer Muxi would be fine. Conan, are you all right? Officer Mumu asked Conan. Officer Kimu, I'm fine. Conan shook his head, and his uneasy heart finally relaxed. It's fine. Conan, do you want me to have someone send you away? No, I'll follow Brother Hattori Heiji. Brother Hattori Heiji was injured because he protected me, so I have to follow him. 3, well, 2 anyway, there is no danger now. 970 Officer Yamu doesn't worry about little Conan being in danger, but Anan convinces Heiji that it was because of him that he was injured. In the past, Officer Jay didn't have a good impression of Hattori Heiji at all, but now Officer Moongrave has a little more favorable impression of Hattori Heiji. Of course, it's just a little more favorable impression of Hattori Heiji, but it has not completely changed, and the Toon police officer feels that Hattori Heiji is just atonement for what he did before. 3 inches. By the way, the police officer, does the Metropolitan Police Department have such a powerful non-hit? Conan asked his Toon officer curiously. With a few words in his eyes, Heiji Hattori, who was originally injured and left to watch Tuahan, also raised his head and looked at the Toon police officer with a bit of curiosity in his eyes. After all, being able to hit the target accurately and quickly is not something ordinary people can do. Why are you asking this, Conan? Officer Chi-Mu frowned slightly. Well, in fact, I'm just curious. I like sniping by nature. My dream is to become a professional sniper, so I'm very curious. Conan quickly gave a reason. Conan, didn't you say before that the Ka will become a detective? Ah, did I say it? Conan even forgot what he said. Maybe it was what he said when he was perfunctory from the tomb police officer. Actually, I wanted to become a detective by name. Now I want to become a sniper. Can't police officer Chi-Mu not reveal it at 2 o'clock? Well, it's okay to tell you guys. The person who killed those terrorists, Conan, you know, is Officer Sato. Officer Sato immediately thought of Mikazu Sato when he heard the surname Yue Conan. In the police department, only Mikazu Sato was surnamed Sato. Is there only Officer Sato since 2? Is there no one else? Conan asked again. Only Officer Sato. I really didn't expect that. Officer Sato's marksmanship is really surprising. Even now, the tomb police officer's eyes are still flickering with surprise. Conan and Hattori Heiji's hearts are horrified. Before these papers, they all fell to the ground at the same time. At the same time, they thought that there was more than one sniper. I want to meet, but there are only 2 Sato Mawako. How powerful is Sato Mawako? Fuji Mawako suddenly came over, and Mawako was with Tatsuya. After seeing Hyuga-chen, Conan's eyes narrowed. Sato Mawako, he was with Hyuga-chen. If that's the case, it would explain why Mikazu Sato has such a powerful ability. After all, it's not surprising that people who are with Hyuga-chen are not normal. Conan, I didn't think you were right here. Do you know something? But I'm worried about you, and I'm also worried about you. Chen said with a slight smile. Conan pouted. Shaolin worried that he should be true. But Hyuga-chen's words should be forgotten. Conan felt a strong hypocrisy. Sato, you have done too much this time. I guess can be promoted to police department. Officer Megumi said with a smile. It can be said that he brought it out with Mikazu Sato. Shigen Mikazu Sato made a contribution and the tomb police officer was very happy. Originally, Mikazu Sato was a complete supplement, and now it can be directly promoted to the police department. You must know that the police officer is also the police department. Moreover, in order to become the whole film, and the curtain police officer has devoted too much time, and Sato Mikako became the police department at a young age, although he has not been promoted yet. But the police officer Mumu knows that this is already a proper thing. Originally, because of Sato Mawako's outstanding ability, it was decided to promote her to the police department, and now Sato Iwako has set up a part-time job, so it is not appropriate to be promoted to the police department. Is it? Sato Mawako smiled lightly. In fact, she didn't care much about these Sato Mawako. If it was originally, Sato Mawako might have cared, but now Sato Mawako doesn't care about promotion or nada. Chu police officer, bombs are basically all checked. No ticking time bomb or anything. The police will report soon. In fact, the bomb is still very easy to investigate. Before, because I didn't want to stimulate those terrorists. So I didn't dare to investigate. Now those people have been solved. The only one alive and detained. So you can rest assured that Waihang has checked. After a lot of investigation, we finally found all the bombs, and the number is still quite large. The day was really detonated. The consequences are unimaginable. Don't move for now, wait for the bomb disposal experts to process. Officer Mumu told them that bombs are not something that ordinary people can touch. They have not checked them all. If they accidentally touch the wrong ones, they may explode. This kind of professional change. After a while, I rescued the car and came to take care of the casualties here. After all, the terrorists did not kill a single person. At the beginning, they killed a lot of people. There are also a lot of people. Looking at the dead people, Officer Mu also has a headache, but it has nothing to do with him. At most he will be held accountable. Heiji also got into the ambulance. Conan was taken along with him. He dragged him to the doctor. Officer Kimu should have nothing to do with Mawako now. Chen asked Officer Kimu. So, I think, Mawako has done a great job this time. I allow Mawako to take a half day off and come back to work tomorrow. And the Toon police officer knew what Chen meant. So he gave Mawako a holiday. Chapter 976. Chen and Mawako in Xiao Ai's walked out of the tropical music together and saw the most out. Xiaolan Yuanzi and the others were relieved. If it wasn't for the first small sorrow to stop them, maybe they have already gone to find Chen. Chen, are you not injured? I seem to hear the gunshots and ask you to be alright. Xiaolan checked Shi Dingchen's body and was relieved. I'm not injured, how could I be injured? Chen Yu held Xiaolan's cheek in his hand. He smiled and said, Humph. Mikazu Sato couldn't help snorting coldly, with a deep dissatisfaction in her voice. My man molested other women. Anyone would feel angry. There was a bit of a sour feeling inside, and Xiaolan's face turned into a venomous butterfly. Yuhi's color. The T-pointed treasure is so bright that Yuhi's face is so bright that Yuhi can't even look directly at Chen Xiaoai. She stepped on it secretly. She is a time-honored person with 1 foot. Her face is covered with frost. 10 points. The construction topic interrupted Xiaolan. Hearing Yuanzi's question, I also looked at Chen with the eyes of the inquiry room. Just now, I was only obsessed with Guan Xiaochen, but I forgot about Conan. It's inside. There is something wrong with Conan, but Heiji Hattori's arm was hit 3 times. Chen said to them, there are some factors in the clearing machine, but I can't stand it. Hato Heiji was shot. Yuenshin and Yi are a little concerned that no matter what conflicts they hear now, they were childhood sweethearts after all. Yes, Chen Point Hattori Heiji Shuang only hit the arm, and it is impossible for the gold to reach his life. However, the pain still has to be borne by him. This is also the price, and he will not be injured. Now he has brought it on himself. Yi, do you want to go to the hospital? Chen asked Yi Jian. Yi nodded. Hattori Heiji was less injured and had to make sure that Hattori Heiji was really okay. That's right. I have to inform Aunt Jinghua. Hai picked up the phone and said. He then took out his phone. Dial up the phone, and told all the incident to Hattori Shizuka. At this time Hattori Zaihua also knew Hattori Heiji was injured. After hanging up the phone, Shizuka Hattori immediately got up and called Hattori Haizang. From the matter of Hattori Haizang, Ribu Jinghua learned that Hattori Haizang already knew about it, and now he has gone to see Hattori Heiji. Take 0 so much. Why didn't she tell her Zhongdao really had to wait until Heiji's accident before she told Huo 14 5271. The angry sleeper Jinghua scolded Hattori Haizang fiercely on the phone. Hattori Haizang didn't speak again. The other side. Yue brought Xiaolan, He and the others to the hospital. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for letting you accompany me to the hospital. He said embarrassedly. What did you say to Yi? Good Jiaoming 7, Chen said. Yuyan was moved to watch Chen Xiaoai remove the barrier, kicked Chen, and Lu Xian's bad eyes swept across Yi's body. Is Ji Feiken trying to make a girl's idea? Yuan Shan and Yi are also pretty, maybe it's true. After all, in Xiaoai's eyes, Chen is a satyr. The existence that Xiaoai despises very much. Chen also, do not know. In Xiaoai's eyes, he was actually a big pervert. If you know it, I'm afraid I will feel sad. Don't know where Hattori Heiji is. It is very simple to know this. Just ask twice. Guy and Ziyu took a moment, and learned that Hattori Heiji was in Hattori Heiji's ward after he came to Hattori Heiji's ward. Hattori Heiji was not here. After inquiring about the 10th, he learned that Hattori Heiji had been sent to the operating room. There were no bullets. It passed through his arm and got stuck in the bone, which is also a revelation. In fact, if the bullet really penetrated, it might be a good thing. In this situation, surgery is needed to remove Ritake's bullet. Shangnan, what happened to the wall department? Shaolin asked Conan after seeing Bannon. What a big deal, the doctor said that as long as the bullet is taken out, it will be gone. Conan glanced at Mawako deliberately, and then said. And in the Jiwan store, the 4 inspections of all gold, and the addition of this marksmanship shocked Kei Zhang. When Conan looked at Mawako, the sensitive Mawako also looked back at Hanan, as if he gave the giant Iwang who had seen it through. At this time, Conan suddenly thought of a question. There is an 80% chance that Hugichin will know his true identity. If so, will Hugichin know his true identity? Telling Sato Mi thinks of this, Yunnan can't help lowering his head, and the people who know his true identity are getting more and more. Conan does not want many people to know his identity, but he can control it in this book. Surgery will be done soon. The door of the room was opened, and the doctor came out. After the doctor came out, Mawako removed the moonlight from Conan's body. At this time, Conan was relieved, and he was alert to Sato Mawako Shaori. It seems that in the future, if you want to add more people than Yume Kazuko, after all, the person who is with Jayu after Hyuga must be careful, the bullet has been turned out. However, although the injured person will not be disabled, they must move well and take good care of themselves. Also, Yi Dongping is kind, don't let his injured hand use too much force, otherwise it will cause serious consequences. By the way, who is the family member of the injured person? After the doctor said a lot, he found that he still didn't know who are the family members of the injured. The family is not. I am the family of the injured. Hattori Haizang said to the doctor. At this time, Mengmeng had just arrived to obey. With Zhang Shui still on his head, he hurriedly asked the doctor, "Excuse me, what's wrong with my son?" But what happened to Hattori's injury? Listening to Li's injury, it wasn't serious, but he injured his arm. It will be good to cultivate for a while. Hattori Haizang is relieved, as long as everything is fine. 970th chapter Soil. The strong Hattori Shizuka is fast. Hattori Heiji came out of the operating room, and the only thing he injured was his arm, so of course there was no problem in being able to walk out. It would be too embarrassing to come out before too late, so I walked out and saw Hattori Harai want that face that is not angry and arrogant, and Hattori Harai suddenly shrank back. Wouldn't his father have to teach him a lesson? If so, teach his words here. Then he lost his face too much. Then Hattori Heiji's eyes saw Chen and the others. His expression became a little bad, especially when he saw that Hiyi was still with Chen. Hattori Heiji's heart was filled with anger. Why are you here? Hattori Heiji looked at Yuan Shan Hiyi. The tone is still heavy. Because the heart is not original, there is anger. So I couldn't help but express my anger on the distant 113 mountain, and Yi's all of a sudden, the distant mountain is also worth the fire. I came here to see you because I care about you. You have such an expression, you really shouldn't, Heiji here. Hattori Haizang glared at Hattori Heiji. At this time, Hattori Heiji also knew. I'm in a bad mood. The words are a bit heavy, although the notification is wrong, but this does not mean that Hattori Heiji will admit his mistake. In the eyes of Hattori Heya, face is very important. Jingcheng and Yuenshin and Yi apologize. He didn't want to lose face because he was very shameless at that age, so Hattori Heiji just turned his head and didn't even look at Yuan Shan and Yi. He had never apologized to Yuan Shan and Yi, how could he be ashamed? It's just that Yuan Shan and Yi are indeed even more annoyed. She was going to wait for Hattori Heiji to apologize, but she revealed it. I just didn't expect that Hattori Heiji not only did not apologize, but intensified. It made Yuan Shan and Yi even more angry. I said, what's the matter with each of you guys? Sonoko said that she was very upset. She was upset by Hattori Heiji at first, but now she feels even more upset. Root to beat Hattori Pingji equals Dayton to feel comfortable. Mrs. Sonoko was upset with Hattori Heiji in the same way. Hattori Heiji was also very upset with Sonoko. Glancing at Sonoko, Hattori Heiji snorted coldly. I really don't know what she has here. 3 inches. Hey, what do you mean by that look? Sonoko asked with a name. Although Hattori Haisaki. Just stand here. But Sonoko is not afraid of Hattori Hazang, even if it is Hattori Hazang. She is the identity of the second small garden of the consortium. It is doomed that she is not afraid of Hattori Hazang, and Hattori Hazang can't handle it, the power of the Suzuki consortium. Stronger than imagined. Zeros. After all, the Suzuki consortium is also a company that ranks well in the world. Hattori Haizang really can't do anything to the Suzuki Consortium, not to mention this is a conflict between the juniors. If Hattori Haizang intervenes, then it has risen to another level. Heiji, Haitsu said, and reminded Hattori Heiji that he didn't want him to have a conflict with Cheng Xiaohu of the Suzuki Consortium, which was not good for him, although Shin said it. The Xiaohu of the Suzuki Consortium is not an arbitrary person, but if Suzuki Sonoko really wants to rectify Hattori Heiji, then Hattori Heiji really only has to beg for losses. Hattori Heiji couldn't help but feel a little aggrieved. He has not been so angry yet. 3 inches Mr. Hattori, we meet again. Chen smiled at Hattori Hirato to persuade Hirazaka Kajin Chen. His eyes narrowed slightly, for this person after Hyuga. I can't see through it, but Hyuga Chen didn't give him face like this last time. Even Hattori Haizang's castle couldn't help but be a little angry. Now facing Hyuga Chen, it is naturally impossible to show a smile. Besides, Hattori Haizang was born serious even if Hattori Heiji has never seen Hattori Haizo smile so many times, let alone Hyuga Chen. Hattori Haizang just nodded at Hyuga Chen. Recently, he wanted to investigate Hyuga Chen carefully, but unfortunately nothing was found. Arrived. Hattori Haizang Shaori was very disappointed. Doctor, have I been discharged from the hospital? Hattori Heiji asked the doctor in dissatisfaction. No. The body suddenly shook and looked up. I saw the graceful and luxurious Hattori Jinghua came over, with a sharp look in his eyes, which was like a blade. The sharp eyes made Hattori Heiji's heart shiver, and Hattori Heiji couldn't help but turn to Hattori Haizang looked at why his mother was here. This is not good. Looking at the eyes of Shizuka Hattori, he knew that he would not be easily bypassed. Yes, Shizuo Hattori was very angry when he came out, but he didn't expect it. It's actually like this. What the hell is going on? Tell me the truth. 9 inches Hattori Shizuka's aura was full. She was originally a Yamato Nadeko, but now she is sharp. This is the first time I see such an auntie. Yuan Shan and Yi said. Sonoko said. I feel that Hattori's most flamboyant aura is not inferior to her mother who is full of aura. I really want to be awesome. Xiao Ran also looked at Hattori Shizuka with admiration. Xiao Ran, you will never be a strong woman. Chen put her hand on Xiaolin's head. She whispered to Xiaolin, why? Xiaolin looked at Chen puzzled. Why did she think she wouldn't be a strong woman? Of course it's because of your character. As far as your character is concerned, you can never be a strong woman, but you are the best when you are gentle. Chen said with a smile. To Xiaolin's face, 3T. However, Xiao Ai, who was standing next to him, was cold and frosty, equals inattentive. You are about to sit and chat with him. Conan bit Kiba, looking jealous. Zuchin and Xiaolin communicated in a low voice, because the voice was small, so Conan couldn't hear what he was saying, but Conan was so cool, why did Xiaolin have to get close to these 4B guys? Isn't this guy a long one? Is it a little more handsome? What's good about it? But if you look handsome, that's enough. Although you can't be a meal when you are handsome, you can attract girls to like it. And you can really eat a meal if you look good. Soft rice too. Okay, he doesn't need to eat soft rice or anything for the Hyuga Wish Festival. Now Chen is watching a good show, watching Hattori Heiji being taught by his own mother. You must know that Hattori Shizuka has practiced Taoism, and his strength is actually very powerful. Ordinary people are not opponents. Hattori Heiji has also practiced Kendo. But with his 2 knives, can he be compared with Hattori Shizuka? Hattori Haizang was able to beat him. 9th, 178th chapters. The stupid son was taught a lesson by Shizuka Hattori. Hattori Heiji had a bitter face on his face. As for leaving the hospital, don't even think about it. My arm was wounded by a snow gun. What would I do if I didn't recover and leave the hospital? Could it be that I'm just being brave? Hee, why did you stay here and didn't go back? Hattori Shizuka suddenly looked at Hee and said with a smile, could it be that? Is it because of Heiji? Hattori Jinghua knew that there was a conflict with Yi and her son, so she wanted to mediate out loud, but Hattori Jinghua was quite satisfied with Hee. No. Toyama and Yi glanced at Hattori Heiji, and then shook their head. She didn't stay here because of Hattori's sense of Heiji. Besides, Toyama and Yi still didn't want to see Hattori Heiji, so they stayed here. Here, just didn't think that Hattori Heiji didn't open high. 3 inches huh? Hattori Heiji coldly snorted. Crack tilde. Hattori Shizuka. He slapped Hattori Heiji's arm. Of course, the arm that was not injured. 20 is too stupid. I didn't see me mediating for you don't show a good looking face. Hattori Shizuka knows what to say to his son. Hattori Heiji looks at Hattori Shizuka aggrieved. Why do you want to beat him for? To know that he is still the wounded, auntie, we are old. Toyama and Yi said to Hattori Jinhwa, are you going now? Hattori Jinhwa secretly pushed it with his hand. Heiji Hattori, Kazuya must be angry, so Hattori Jinhwa wanted Hattori Heiji to speak out to hold him back. It's a pity. Hattori Shizuka overestimated his son's emotional intelligence at all. Maybe the detective's IQ is high, but his emotional intelligence is very low. He couldn't understand what Hattori Shizuka meant. He was pushed a bit, and he still has it. Inexplicably, after taking a look at Hattori's main drink, Hattori Jinhwa was very angry but didn't say anything, just glared at Hattori again. Let's go, Kazuya. Yuanzi took Hiei, Chen and the others left the hospital, and Conan stayed here. Originally, Shaolin had passed Conan, should you follow, Chi and leave, but Conan still chose to stay with his friends. Where are you going? It's rare to let go after a long vacation, I can't go back. Sato Mawako said with a deep breath. It's up to you to decide. Mawako, Chen said to Mawako, and Mawako looks like she wants to. Mawako doesn't know where to go now, and there seems to be nowhere to go. Sister Mawako, I heard that you heroically killed those terrorists. Yes, it wasn't that Azan prize. Sonoko looked at Mawako adoringly. 6 He heard Sonoko mention this. Mawako was slightly taken aback, then nodded. She didn't feel anything. L0 saw. Sister Mawako, you are a sharpshooter, I wonder if you can teach me a lesson. Shooting. I'm very interested in checkpoints and such. Tonoko said excitedly. 3 ordinary girls. Song would like guns. But is Sonoko the average one? Actually, if you want to study, you don't need to look for me at all, just look for Chen. Mawako gestured to Chen next to him. Originally, Mawako's marksmanship, although it was good, was definitely not up to the level it is now. Especially sniper rifles. Mawako rarely used it at all, only when she was still in the police academy. I have practiced with a chicken shot, and the number of actual shots is very small. But now it is very simple for the ground. Because she is very strong now, the recoil of a sniper rifle does not exist for her. Gai Hezi can even use tearshot as a rifle, and the accuracy is extraordinarily accurate, and Mei Hezi can carry a fenfly from a distance of 500 meters. These are all after Mawako learned ninjutsu from Chen. He has only become so powerful, so if Sonoko also wants to become so powerful. In fact, it is very simple, that is, learn ninjutsu with Chen. As long as he learns ninjutsu well, Sonoko will be able to exert this amazing power. But the premise is that Tatsu has to teach Sonoko, so Mawako-ben said to let Sonoko go to Tatsu. Chen, don't you know how to shoot? Sonoko looked at Chen in surprise. In fact, it wasn't just Sonoko who was surprised. Shaolin and Hiei also looked at Chen in surprise. Why didn't they know it before? It's okay with Yi. She and Chen have known each other for a short time, but Shaolin, Yuanzi and Chen have known each other for a long time. Well, it's quite long, but it's actually not that long. Yeah, without my grandmaster, there is no one I won't, Chen said to Sonoko. 9 inches bragging. If you say you have a baby, can you do it? Yuan pouted slightly and looked at Chen in disbelief. But Chen can really do it. But it is not born, but created. Yin and Yang can create all things, and life can also be created. It's just that Chen didn't say it, and it is estimated that Sonoko didn't believe it when she said it, creating life. That's what God can do, and no one would believe it, even if it's true. Yuanzi looked at Chen expectantly and asked Chen. Well, actually, if you want to practice, it's actually very hard. I'm afraid you won't be able to persist. So let's forget it. Chen waved his hand towards Yuanzi. Let's talk about it. With Sonoko's physique, it is estimated that 2 shots will be fired. Your arm will hurt so much. Well, in fact, Chen is exaggerating. If it is a normal pistol, the recoil is not that great. It's fine if you don't want to teach. Sonoko pouted. Find a coffee shop and take a break. Mawako 533 said 3. Oh, doesn't Mawako want to go somewhere else to play? Urchin looked at Chiwako suspiciously and asked. If you don't go, why don't you just find a coffee shop for some coffee? Mawako shook her head, then just go to my coffee shop. At this time, I still remember that I have a coffee shop, just in downstairs of Shaolin's house. Mimomi and Zibisho have opinions, and it's the same wherever they go. Soon Chen and the others came to the downstairs of the Maori detective office, entered the coffee shop, and were very surprised when they saw Chen, who was busy. Boss, why are you here? Boss, isn't it welcome to come for coffee? Chen chuckled and said to Mo Benzi, of course you are welcome, not to mention how dare I not welcome it. If I am not welcome, then the boss, aren't you going to fire me? Mo Benzi looked like he was very strong. Chen looked down at Xiao Ai, only to see that Xiao Ai had just taken back the Black Discovery at this time. After looking at her, Chen didn't even look at him. Of course Mawako discovered this scene. Not only cover your mouth gently, laugh. Is Xiao Ai jealous? But Xiao Ai seems to be jealous often. Elle must be interested in Chen. Xiao Ai also noticed Mawako's smile, and Mawako looked at herself and Xiao Ai's cheeks with a playful look. Yuhi. Chapter 979. Another day. Chen, you don't have many guests here, right? Would you like me to advertise for you? Promote it. Yuanzi saw that there were not many guests here, so he said to Chen. No, I don't need so many guests. Yin Chen shook his head at Yuan Zibao. Shaolin and Yuanzi Yui looked at Chen in surprise. I don't know why, but the business here is better. In fact, Chen doesn't care about any business. The reason why he bought this place at first was because he was close to Shaolin. Now it's not enough to use it. Even if he loses money, Chen doesn't care. Why? Shaolin asked Chen in confusion. Because there are not enough people here. If there are too many guests, Moben Azusa will not be able to handle it. Tuji Benzi was stunned when he heard it, and then suddenly felt sweet in his heart. Is the boss caring about others? What do you want to drink? Do you want to drink juice? Chen said to Xiao Ai. I want to drink coffee. It's not good for children to drink coffee. So let's drink juice. Mo Benzi will bring Xiao Ai a cup of county juice. Xiao Ai looked at Chen dissatisfiedly. Compared with fruit juice, Xiao Ai is the most still like coffee. Because I used to drink coffee when I was used to it. However, since Zan had already ordered for her, Guojia also opened a handle, picked up the juice and took a sip. Hey Shaolin, isn't that your father? Is there something in a hurry? He saw Maori Xiaogoro hurriedly opening high outside. It must have been some kind of entrustment, Xiao Lan said. I would like to see if we should go and see it. Sonoko's eyes suddenly lit up, and then he said to Xiao Lan, I don't think so. It will disturb my father's handling of clients. Shaolin said. Shaolin didn't want to disturb Maori Kogoro. After all, Maoguro had something to do. Okay then. Sonoko nodded after staying in the cafe for a while. Chen and the others left the coffee shop, and Xiao Lan and Yi Ran went home. Tun now lives with Yi at Xiao Lan's house, and of course they went up together. Chen Zezi sent them home, and they went back. Soon came to Yuanzi's house. Chen put Yuanzi down, just when he was about to get high. The door was suddenly opened, and Reipei Suzuki came out suddenly. Wei Guozi was very surprised when she saw Tomoko Jinmu. At this time, her mother should not be thinking that her mother should not be still in normal times, but Tomoko Suzuki stayed at the company and would not come back. After seeing Tomoko Suzumoto this time, Garden was very surprised. When Yin Yin saw me, you were surprised. That Shu Tomoko smiled slightly, and then said to Yin Yin. Ea Ping mother, don't you always go to the company? 6 inches I want to reorganize today. So I gave myself a day off. Suzuki Tomoko smiled lightly. In fact, it is not what Tomoko Suzuki said. Tomoko Suzuki knew that Sonoko went out to play with Tatsuya. And Chen will definitely send her daughter home. So if you come back, you will definitely be able to see Chen. This is not what Tomoko Suzuki expected. Seeing Chen directly here, Tomoko Suzuki looked at Chen, and stared at Chen with the eyes of Mawako, and then looked at Tomoko Suzuki and whispered to Xiaoai, "There is something wrong with these two people." With a cold face said, "This cold little face is obviously not aimed at Mawako." But to go to Chen. Chendi could feel Xiaoai's icy gaze, but put it down for the time being and ignore Xiaoai's icy gaze. "Chen, thank you for sending my daughter back. Would you like to go in and sit down?" Tomoko Suzuki winked at Chen. Sonoko did not smile to find it, but Mawako and Xiaoai kept paying attention to Tomoko Suzuki. How did they not find it? "No, we still have to go back." Mawako said a little to Tomoko Suzuki, "Aren't we, Chen? We still have to go back." After Mawako finished speaking, Kazuko looked at Chen. "Ah, I'm going back now. I wanted to invite you all to finish dinner before leaving." Yin Yin couldn't help saying. Dian Fi opened 9. Xiaoai withdraws his lips, and after eating, it is estimated that your mother will be eaten. "Let's go, I will hire a husband." Xiaoai grabbed Chen's hand and pulled up to Meng Nian. "I am sorry. Bye-bye Snow." Chen went to Tomoko Suzuki and got in the car. He was slightly disappointed with Tomoko Suzuki, but Chen said another day, so let's wait for another day. On the way back, Xiaoai kept his face cold. Are the sharp eyes from Chen? It crossed his body, as if Chen was some kind of prisoner. "Xiaoai, they all looked at me all the way. Did I find a way? Aren't you tired?" Xiaoai did not reply to Chen. She still looked at Chen Xiaoai with icy cold eyes and turned her mouth away, and used this kind of words to scare a child to scare her that she really regarded her as a child. Is it? However, Xiaoai at this time is really a little childish. When she returned home, Xiaoai's frosty face immediately attracted the attention of several women. Wei. Seeing Xiaoai's expression, Belmood felt in his heart. I am very happy. Although they have been together for so long, there are still conflicts between Belmod and Xiaoai. The main thing is that Xiaoai makes peace. Xiaoai is not angry with Belmod, so of course Belmod will look at Xiaoai. Displeased, what's wrong with you, Shirley? Belmod jokingly looked at Xiaoai. Sherry. The murderer looked at Deme in confusion. Oh, Xiaoai's name as there are many, Shirley is just one of them. Belmod said to Yukiko who knew nothing, Lee was good. Yukiko nodded. But she always felt that they had something full of her. Yuko decided to find a time, and I didn't believe that they all did this without asking Chen. It's related. Chen will not tell the truth to himself. It has nothing to do with you. Xiaoai glanced at Belmod coldly. After seeing Belmod, Xiaoai became even more arrogant. Belmod shrugged, and then Guang Shangchen, Chen must have provoked her arrogance. It's just that Beifin Mode doesn't know how Chen provoked her. Mayano Akemi rubbed Xiaoai's head, and then said, "Here, only Mingmei and Chen can rub Xiaoai's head. The star is her sister," and Chen's words. Xiaoai said that she couldn't stop it. In fact, Xiaoai enjoyed it very much in her heart, but she just wouldn't say it out loud. But if it's someone else, that's absolutely not possible. Chapter 180. Xiaogoro owes the giant jingle bell L. Hearing the ringing of the phone, Chen couldn't help being stunned for a moment, then took it over and took a look. It was Shaolin's call. Hey, Shaolin, what's the matter? Zan couldn't help frowning. Could it be that something happened? Chen, can you come to my house? After a long time, Shaolin said aloud. But the voice was a little choked. It seemed that something had happened, otherwise Shaolin wouldn't be this voice. Okay, I'll be there soon. Chen also didn't ask what was going on. Because I couldn't ask clearly on the phone, I'd better wait until I see Shaolin and then ask. Chen, you go out and see Mingmei, who went out and steal flowers in the yard, and asked Chen. Well, I have something to do when I go out. Mingmei, don't prepare my breakfast. Chen turned to Mingmei and then opened the door and got into the car. It was fine yesterday. Why did something happen today? Could it be because of Kogoro Mori? To yesterday, Lily Lang hurriedly drove high. It should be something happened to him. Yes. Chen Yilufei quickly came to the downstairs of the Maori detective office. He went all the way quickly and knocked on the door. The person who opened the door was Hee. At this time, Hee also had a sad look on his face. At this time, Chen couldn't help but suddenly sighed towards Hee, who was forced to ask Hee Jiandao, and then said, "You still go to Jianshao? What the heck is going on?" Chen really couldn't understand, and his body slipped to a small size. After Lan, she should have known that entered the inside. Chen's brows were slightly raised by the strong alcohol smell, and she looked at Maori Kogoro. At this time, Maori Kogoro was lying on the table and was already asleep. "I drank too much, so I couldn't hold back and fell asleep." Kazuya looked at Kogoro Maori, and a look of disgust flashed in his eyes. He hated Kogoro Maori very much. If it wasn't for him, Shaolin wouldn't do it now. He frowned, but now he's better. He fell asleep directly. He really didn't know what to say. "Shaolin, what's the matter?" Chen's eyes turned to Shaolin sitting on the sofa. At this time, Xiaoyi Yuhi's eyes were swollen, as if she had cried, and Daiji didn't look like the door, but Shaolin had really seen it. Of course, it was also in the arms of Shinchin, who was crying because of Mori Kogoro, and the tears in her eyes stayed again. "When I got down, Chen couldn't do anything about it. I could only pat the magnetic shoulder to comfort me." "Well, if you have any questions, please tell me, Shaolin." Chen rubbed Shaolin's head and said, "Dad, Father, he owes a lot of money." Shaolin's arms were calm at the birthday equals after meeting. She raised her head and said to Chen, "I owe money." "Why do you owe money for Wei-O?" Chen asked Xiao Yao in confusion. He said, "I don't know either." Dad seems to be deceived. He didn't make it clear. Shaolin frowned. "Then how much do you owe?" Chen asked about the amount of money owed by Shaolin Mori Kogoro. But watching Shaolin cry like this, "Mori Kogoro owes a lot of money. 3 inches I owe tens of millions of yen from school. If someone hadn't come to collect the debt yesterday, Shaolin probably wouldn't have known." "Really, how could such a father be like this?" He said angrily. "Give Shaolin a hug. Equals 10 million yen, which is not a lot for the most famous, but for the Shaolin family who is not rich, it is really a huge sum of money. Although Maori Xiaowu has received a lot of cases, but he spends too much money. Often drink and roast horses. Basically, you spend as much money as you earn, and now Xiaolan doesn't know how to pay it off because she owes such a huge sum of money." In elementary school, she had also talked to her mother, Ika, on the phone, but was stopped by Maori Noodler. In the words of Kogoro Mori, Hining Yuan was beaten to death, and he would never approach the woman. After all, it's for face. After all, the child of Kogoro Maori is quite embarrassing now. "Well, I'll help you pay back the money you owe," Chen said to Shaolin. "Ah, then how can it be done?" "It's absolutely impossible." Shaolan shook her head, knowing that she was rich. But Shaolin also didn't want Chen to help her family repay. "Why can't this be done? Just treat it as I lent it to you. You can pay it back later." "But, don't do it." Chen reached out and rubbed Shaolin's head, but Shaolin was still very confused. "Why, are you afraid that you won't be able to pay me back in the future?" "In fact, it doesn't matter. If you can't pay it, you can pay it back yourself." Chen looked at Shaolin with a wicked smile. Shaolin gave Chen Zhao in anger. Yuhi's face was extremely shy. "Thank you, Chen." Shaolin leaned her head in Chen's arms and closed her eyes gently, as if she had found her own support. "How to do? I hadn't slept last night, but now I'm lying in Chen's arms, as if I've relieved all the burdens, and I'm lying at ease in Kei's arms and fell asleep in Chen's arms." Chen gently stroked Shaolin's face, then picked Shaolin up and sent it to Shaolin's room. "When I let her take a good rest, Shaolin was about to collapse, but also, if it were me, I would collapse too." He said to Shang Chen. Yesterday, she was comforting Shaolin, but the comfort was also very useful. He also wanted to help Shaolin, but her family had no money. Ko originally wanted to inform Shaolin last night, Yan and Yuanzi, but Shaolin blocked her from going to the store. Today, with her persuasion, Shaolin finally called Chen. Yesterday, The debt collector said that if you can't pay the money, the house was taken away. After all, Kogoro Maori used the house as collateral for the money. What exactly is the money owed? Chen asked Hiei. Without saying, Xiaolan said that it was unfortunate, this alcoholic uncle was very capable. I don't have a pavilion, but my self-esteem seems to be quite strong. Imperial girl, who do you say doesn't have the ability? Mori Kogoro came over again. Seeing Kogoro, Terry woke up. He was a little embarrassed with Yi. After all, he spoke ill of others. It was really embarrassing when he heard it. But thinking of how sad Xiaolan cried yesterday, he was very embarrassed. The guilt disappeared, and he accused Kogoro Mori, am I right? That's how it was. If it weren't for you, would Xiaolan be so hurt last night? Mori Kogoro was silent when he heard Kazuo's words. His eyes flashed blankly. Alas, he was too young. That's why he was deceived. 1.